Very latest from her. Hi, Penny.
Well, right now we've been telling you all about the people that have been coming in here, that have been streaming in here all day. They've been bringing in pictures. We want to show you a different kind of shot now. We're going to look up. We are on 1st Avenue at 27th Street in front of Bellevue Hospital. You see all the police officers. Now, one of the reasons they're here is because there are so many grieving people. We're going to show you some pictures we just took a couple of minutes ago. A couple of families crying, holding each other, praying. They're waiting online by the hundreds. They're giving information to any information they have to authorities. You're looking at pictures of them standing in front of the Children's Hospital, actually. That's around 29th and 1st Avenue. The lines continue to grow. And again, we're going to come back to 1st Avenue. We're going to explain something to you. Kevin, come on back to me, please. We're going to explain something to you that all day long, ambulances have been coming up this street. They've been racing up this street, all sorts of different ambulances. We know right now that Bellevue Hospital has about 300 patients. We know of them, about 100 of them are firemen and police officers. We have with us right now a Reverend. Now, you have been here all day. First, let me get your name.
Reverend Eleni Marudis.
And you're with what church, Reverend?
Interfaith Ministry.
And now you're here helping everyone. How are you able to do this? How are you?
By the grace of God, because it's not about me, it's about the strength of our solidarity and what we need to do to help our rescuers and our doctors and everyone else who's trying to band together to strengthen our country.
Thank you. Thank you for your work, and thank everyone inside. We also want to show you something right here. Kevin, you can probably get this shot right here. You see the pictures on this telephone kiosk right here. They're all over the place. As a matter of fact, every news crew is now starting to put them in their windshields. They're putting them on telephone poles. And I think what these people are asking is that they're asking that if you may have seen someone, if you think you've seen them, because there are an awful lot of people wandering around up here, wandering around by themselves with no help. We have Red Cross over here. They have water. They have biscuits. And if you've seen anything at all, there are plenty of police officers. For their sake, help them. Right now, everything is being done safely, thank God, here at Bellevue Hospital. Now back to you guys in the studio.
Penny, you've been out there all day, and every time we go to you, there are dozens of people standing behind you with pictures of their loved ones and their friends. Do these people have any real hope of finding their family members and their friends?
You know, that's a good question. Daniel Lopez is missing, and we would just ask, this is your brother?
My brother-in-law.
Your brother-in-law. Where was he first?
Well, he was on the 96th floor. That's where he works at. When the plane struck the building, he made it to the 78th floor. He called his wife at 9:30, told her, I'm okay, but I'm going to stay here and help evacuate the building. Okay. So he stood there, and after that, the building collapsed.
And you haven't heard from him?
I haven't heard from him. The last time we heard was at 9:30 in the morning.
And you've been over and you've checked the list?
Yesterday.
Every hospital?
Every hospital.
Do you have hope? I'm sure you do.
Yes, I do, because they say there's still people there alive, and they're pulling people out, and I guess I do have hope.
And you know what? I have a very good friend, and I still have hope. So we'll all pray together.
All right, thank you.
And Linda, again, this is Daniel Lopez. He's 39 years old.
Can we push in on that picture a little bit closer, Penny, so that we can see
can we go a little closer on the picture, Kevin? Very handsome, very handsome. And if you had something to say to him or his family?
Well, Danny, I know you're out there, and I hope you come home.
And what did he do there?
Oh, I don't know exactly. I think he was working with computer. I'm not sure. My wife does. She's over there, but she doesn't want to come over here.
She's been online for how long?
We've been since yesterday, all day. We went to every hospital. Yesterday we walked. There was no transportation. Walked over the bridge and back home. We went home, took a break, and came back this morning. We've been doing this all day today.
God bless you.
Thank you.
Penny?
So Linda, that's pretty, the thoughts of everyone here.
Yeah. Does he actually, is he still standing by you? Does he have a phone number that somebody could call in the event that they happen to know something about this man that he's looking for?
Now, I was listening to you guys because we've been out here all day. We've been doing interviews, but apparently you do have a website.
Right.
Other than the website that you've been listing all day, we've been telling them to go to any one of these police officers, every corner. If you've seen, and you know what, Linda, they're all, and you know this, they're all over New York. Right. If you think you see one of these people, just talk to them or go to a police officer and say, I think I saw this person.
One thing that I'm noticing too, Penny, we've come to you several times today, many times today, a lot of the same people that were behind you this morning are still there late this afternoon.
They're here, and we showed you that video of them waiting online, but we're going to pan over here. You see them Kevin, look at these people. This is the man we just interviewed. You see them standing here, and they're almost, it's like they're just waiting for anybody, any kind of hope. A lot of people are on cell phones, and they're getting the last bit, every bit of information. One person was on a cell phone, and he says, I know that he called from the 78th floor. He said he was going to be fine. An older gentleman walked up to me, and he collapsed. He literally collapsed in my arms. And we got him water. His son, who works for Reuters, was in the building. His son was in the building, and we took him up there. We tried to get him help. You know, we're not just shooting video, and all the crews, everybody that's out here for every station, we are working with people. We're trying to help them, and we're trying to lead them places. You just saw an ambulance go by, and we're just all working together because we're all one family now. New Yorkers are all one family.
And, of course, there is always some hope. I mean, there are stories that we all know about earthquakes in Turkey and in California where 2 weeks have gone by. People have still been found alive. There are only so far that we know for sure, as the mayor said, that other than the people who were in the airplanes, 41 people known dead so far, 259 uniformed officers, including police and firefighters, who are unaccounted for. But
okay,
until all of that rubble has been sifted through, Penny, as you know, until every bit of it has been cleared away, hope is slim, but hope is still alive.
And you know, as I've been saying all day, Neil Levin, who is with the Port Authority, Commissioner of the Port Authority, good friends with George Pataki. I've known him so many years. His wife is one of my best friends in the world. In the world. I haven't given up hope.
You can't.
I sit here
You
and
absolutely
I know that maybe, God willing, he and so many more people will be rescued by our wonderful firefighters and police officers.
Penny, we have to interrupt you here for just a moment. We're just getting some information now that Fox News Channel reporter Rick Leventhal is down at Ground Zero, and he is reporting that the Millennium Hotel is feared to be shaking and also may fall, the Millennium Hotel. So more disaster. It's just disaster after disaster. I mean, just when you think that you've seen the last of it, of course, this is going to be the aftermath now because...
Well, and of course, the good things that those buildings have been evacuated now, so at least they're not going to lose any more lives.
Right.
Let's go to Mike Gilliam in our newsroom now. Mike?
We're at the update desk, and we have some information to pass on to you. You heard folks talking about family members from Cantor Fitzgerald. We have some information for them that may be helpful. They have a room set up at the Pierre Hotel, 5th Avenue and 61st Street. That room will be open until 9 p.m. this evening, and will also be open from 9 a.m. tomorrow until 9 p.m. It's a room where you can go and get information about family members there. They're developing lists as well. There's also a phone number. That number is 212-940-8162. That number for Cantor Fitzgerald's people over at the Pierre Hotel is 212-940-8162. Now, more information for you. Schools tomorrow in the city of New York will be opening, but 2 hours late. That is except for the schools in Manhattan below 14th Street. Below 14th Street, the schools will remain closed. But the other schools in the city will open tomorrow 2 hours late. Also, a couple of other things for you. The Port Authority has updated us on many of the facilities that they're in charge of around the city. First, they say they hope to open the airports within the next couple of hours, but with much more stringent safety precautions. The feds have ordered that only flights that were diverted yesterday with passengers that were on board yesterday and empty planes will be allowed to fly. And all of those planes and airports must be searched first before those planes can take off. Now, PA officials also updated us on the bridges and tunnels, saying the George Washington Bridge is open on the upper level in both directions.
We anticipate that tomorrow the Lincoln Tunnel will be reopening, and the Port Authority bus terminal will also reopen tomorrow. The Holland Tunnel, while it's open for emergency personnel, is not likely to open to general traffic because of the situation in downtown Manhattan in which there is a restriction on vehicular traffic. The George Washington Bridge and bus station is open with limited service.
So they hope to have things pretty much back to normal tomorrow, but the Holland they expect to remain closed. Service on the Staten Island Ferry is expected to resume tomorrow morning as well. The New York City Department of Transportation is telling us that Service should start at 6 a.m., but they are warning that commuters should realize there will be no buses waiting for them at the Whitehall Ferry Terminal. Also, there are other cancellations. Major League Baseball has taken 2 more days of games off. They will break through Thursday. The Broadway theaters will be closed tonight as well as earlier today for their matinees. The mayor is hoping that they will reopen tomorrow. We're continuing to check on all of the different changes that are happening in the city, all the cancellations, and we'll bring you some more numbers as to where you can try to find missing people in our next break. Back to you in the studio.
All right, thanks, Mike. Still no word on whether or not the NFL is going to play this weekend. There was some word from that a lot of the players are afraid to fly. So they're still trying to work that out, and we don't know what the decision is there as far as NFL football this weekend. We have Eileen Shea now on the phone, whose brother is missing. Eileen, are you there?
Yes, sir.
What can we do to help?
You know, I just wanted to give a shout out. He works at Cantor Fitzgerald, which seems to be most of the calls coming in. He was on 105th floor.
Did you?
You know, he is one of 8 kids, you know, Irish family.
Did you get that number earlier, Eileen, that we had for?
Yeah, we called,
Okay.
and, you know, you actually put his picture on the air about a half hour ago. It came from Ann400 at AOL.
Okay.
If you could find that, maybe you could show that again.
Well, I don't know whether we'll be able to do it as quickly as we'd
okay.
like to, but if we
you
can't
know,
right now, we...
He has 2 kids and a third on the way, due in October.
Have you called, Eileen? Have you called the number at the pier?
We have. But I'm sorry, at the pier, I don't know. My whole family's inside. I'm outside right now. I'm sure they have that number.
Okay. All right, well...
But, you know, if anyone sees him, you know, Rob Shea is about 5'9", between 170 and 180, you know, stocky build. Brown hair, brown eyes, little scar above his lip. We have 2 numbers, 718-981-6258 or 718-981-8632. We're also looking for Jason DeFazio, who also worked with him. So, you know, if anyone sees either of the 2. Yeah, sir, I just have a question. How do we go about going to the hospitals for people without identification? Obviously, they're not on any list since we don't know who they are.
I think that all you can really do, Eileen, is to physically go to the hospitals, tell the people, the people there at the desks who it is that you're looking for, and have them go over their lists to see. Matter of fact, we can ask this doctor who's sitting right here right now, what's the best way, doctor, for people who are going to the hospitals trying to find people?
A lot of it is what people are doing. There's no one official pathway.
Just go to the hospital.
You
and
have
ask.
to talk to friends, continue to call, you get on your cell phones. I had to call Alabama to have people call back to New Jersey because cell phones weren't working. Call the place of employment. Look at the news.
But they can also go right to the hospital.
You can, but, you know, there's a lot of anarchy. There's a lot of, you know, they're really, really busy. So you certainly can, but just have to realize you have to be patient because they're running around changing bandages, you know, changing IV bottles.
Excuse me, Doctor, we have to interrupt you here for just 1 second. We're going to go back to Penny Crone right now, who is outside Bellevue Hospital. Penny?
Yeah, I've been outside all day, and we've been showing pictures of missing people, and 4 gentlemen just came up to me and candidly said that you wanted to say something, that you're all of Arabic descent.
Yes.
And you just showed me a blood card, and tell me.
Yes, I'm from Egypt. I'm U.S. citizen, and here is my oldest son, and we just coming to give blood. And since 1980, I give blood, and we against what happening if everybody mention Egypt or Middle Eastern or Muslim. We against any violence this way.
Do you find any prejudice now since this has happened? Do you find anyone coming to you or saying anything in New York that's negative?
No, it's not like that, you know. What happened yesterday made all of us like so upset. We don't know why they act against Arabic people. I was over there yesterday. I was in front of the World Trade Center when everything happened. I saw everything by my eyes. I was so scared. I was so upset. Why they do this? Why? We're all human. It can't be Arabic people. We're all human. We're all having blood. Why they want to destroy other people?
No, I'm going to interrupt you because I'm going to ask you a question real quickly. A lot of people are watching right now, and they're going to say, how do we know? How do we believe them? I believe you. Obviously, you're on Fox News. We believe you. How do you explain this? How do you? I've asked every New Yorker this. Can you understand this at all?
What is going on now? We don't have any evidence who did it, and we don't know. But the first people there always saying that they are the one who did it are the Arabs, especially the seems like right now they associate Islam with terrorism, which Islam has nothing to do with terrorism. We are against terrorism, and we don't support it.
Thank you very much. And you did all give blood today.
Yeah.
And I know you all send your love and regards to everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And thank you for coming up to us.
And God bless America.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I also want to show you one thing. I've been talking all day about my close friend. I've been showing pictures all day. We will continue to do that. I have finally gotten a picture of my friend Neil Levin, my very dear friend. He is the director of the Port Authority. I also have a picture with him here with his wife, another very dear friend of mine. And a lot of people know Christy Farah and Neil Levin. He's a very, very handsome man. His wife called me at 3 this morning, like so many people. So many people. I wasn't home. I was out working. My husband said, have faith. Christy, I know you're watching, and I know everyone that's watching. And John said it, Linda said it, we're all saying it. Have hope. Don't give up hope. We're all working, and we're going to have a lot more pictures for you. I don't know, do we have time for one more? Yes, we do? Okay, come on over here with me. Who is this?
My brother.
And this is your brother. His name was Edward?
Peter.
Edward
Mardikian.
Mardikian. And he was in World Tower 1?
Tower 1, the windows on the world, the top floor.
And did you get any communication with him?
We did. He called his wife right after the plane hit, and he said he was okay, and it was smoky, but we haven't heard from him since.
Again, we're telling everyone, Fox has, and I'll tell you as soon as we get off the air, we have a website. You can put this picture on the website. And also, we're telling everyone, just for your own security, that you can tell if anybody sees him, they will go to a police officer. Do you have anything else you want to say?
No, that's all. Thank you.
God bless.
Thank you.
Good luck. And you just can see it. It just doesn't stop. We're not giving. None of us are giving up hope. We're in there. Now back to you guys.
All right, thank you very much, Penny. I would just point out, we were just talking about this a few minutes ago, the speculation about who is behind this acts of terrorism. We thought, remember, there's a lot of speculation in Oklahoma, and that turned out to be a man by the name of Timothy McVeigh.
An American.
So, this is not time for speculation. Let's go now to Bob DeCastro. Bob.
Hey, John, I have Rosanna Scotto by my side now, too, and it seems like we have some of the same information about that building that could be on the verge of collapse. We're hearing that it could be 200 Bessie Street, and also...
Which is also, you have to understand, One Liberty Plaza, I'm hearing it's the back end of Liberty, so it's all the same area, it's the same building. One side is BC, the other side is Liberty Plaza, and what I've heard basically is that there's a buckle in the building. And we were just at the downtown hospital over here, and there were some police officers in wheelchairs. They were on BC Street, and they said all of a sudden people just panicked and started running, and 2 of the police officers were trampled. They're okay, but there's obviously a lot of commotion going on right now, and they are keeping an eye on that building.
And I have heard the same thing, and I've also heard that there are structural engineers who are on site, and they're using some sort of a tool that can determine whether or not the building is bowing or bending or teetering one way or the other by as little as a quarter of an inch.
Right. With us right now, we have some policemen from Brooklyn Narcotics. They don't usually do this. They don't usually get too dirty. But your job obviously is very important. Tell me where you were and what's going on.
Well, we were right down at the World Trade Center, and we were there from about 4 o'clock this morning. And we were just basically digging and looking for, looking for people.
Did you find anybody?
Yes, we did. Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, basically everybody was deceased. That we, a lot of body parts. It was pretty sad.
You're very broken up about it, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's literally as a person just pulling piece after piece of debris. Is that what you all are doing?
Yes. We had long lines of people, and we just handed,
You can't imagine what it looks like there.
What does it look like? Describe it as best as you can.
It looks like a war zone. It's just miles and it looks like miles and miles of rubble.
But knowing those are some of your colleagues there, knowing some of your friends, and does it make it all the more difficult to do this?
It doesn't make it more difficult. It makes you want to do it more.
More eager.
You want to get there,
I think that's what drives you to keep you going, knowing that your brothers are in there, and firemen, police officers, and families, civilians that have families at home watching on TV, hoping to see them again. And that's what keeps us going.
Family and friends that are in there. We know people that are in there. So that's what brings.
You're from Staten Island.
We're from Staten
right?
Island. Yes, a lot of people work from Staten Island, the financial district. Big commuters from the ferry come over, big area. I have one friend of mine. I haven't been able to identify. He was one of the early engine companies that arrived here. Works in Manhattan as a fireman. The family has no word on him yet. We have other people that we know that we're concerned about.
What did you see down there?
You know, the best to describe it would be something you would see in a movie. I mean, it's very surreal. It's just rubble, twisted metal, boulders, rocks, pieces of, you couldn't even describe. I mean, there's vehicles that have been trampled by, covered by buildings that don't even resemble fire trucks.
It was strange. We got here last night. We got here about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. There was one engine company that the truck was still pumping. It was a burned out Hulk, the truck. There's nothing left there, but the engine was still running. It was still pumping water. They were still using the hand lines. And you just knew the firemen weren't coming back to that truck.
Can you describe how large spread the debris has been and how high it is? We're hearing stories like it could be as high as 8.
It's about 5 stories. It's about 5 stories high. If you take 110 stories and you stack it 5 stories high, crush it together. That's what it looks like. It doesn't look like the World Trade Center down there. Nothing doesn't look like a tourist attraction that
Now,
you used to.
you're a volunteer fireman, right?
That's correct, yes.
And so you saw it on the news and you just hopped on over here?
Yes, we did. We have friends of ours that are from the Liberty, Pennsylvania Fire Company Search and Rescue Squad. One of the guys used to be a New York City emergency service cop. He brought down the rescue squad guys. We loaded them into one of our apparatus with all their equipment, and some of our volunteers are here with them. FDNY gave us an engine company. We're pumping all day with one engine company. Split up our teams. Basically, whatever has to be done, if they ask us to do it, we'll do it. That's
now, let me ask you, were any of you just around VC Street or Liberty Plaza when they told tell me what happened when everybody got the word to get out of there?
Run. Everybody just started running down the street, you know, grabbing onto each other and making sure everybody got out, you know. Guys who fell, just grabbing onto them, dragging them to wherever you thought was safe.
Did you see that structurally, was it teetering one way or the other?
It was 3 loud blasts of a horn, and that means get out. Get out of there. Everybody got out.
One of our partners fell down, and we had to carry him out of there. And, you know, when you're just thinking of getting him out, getting yourself out, and make sure get your partners out so that they're okay.
Especially after what happened yesterday. Now, I don't know if you're hearing this, but what I'm hearing is because of where this building is, they are concerned that it's going to knock down another building. Have you guys heard anything about that?
Yes, we've heard those rumors, but we can't confirm anything because our radio frequency is different. We can't contact anybody. We had to evacuate our apparatus from the crash zone. So right now we're without any information.
You're waiting to hear too. We're also hearing that they want people to move back several blocks, but we're in a safe area.
We're in the safe area now.
You're safe right now where you are. They moved us out of there to keep us safe. And basically they had to give up all this search and rescue right now, unfortunately, because of this pending collapse of this other building.
That had to kill you, being right there in the middle, trying to rescue people, and then being told to leave immediately.
It destroys you, because now you have to leave. You're leaving your brothers there. You're leaving family members there, and
how about good stories? Are there any stories of you finding people alive? I mean,
well, the fact that the fire department, the police department, there were doctors there, volunteers there, all working together in long lines, passing debris from the top down, and construction workers in Suffolk County, people from Ohio, everybody lining up.
2 or 3 police officers that were found. They heard gunshots. I guess they were doing it as a distress signal, and they recovered these 3 or 4 police officers alive. So that gives us, you know, a little more.
Did you all see that happen?
We didn't see it. We just heard it over the radio.
That 3 cops were recovered alive.
So are these stories that circulate around that keep you guys
if you look at the location, you wouldn't think that anybody could survive. You know, so to have, you know, a few police officers survive and hopefully firemen, you know.
People at home that are watching, what would you like to tell them about what's going on here? What impressed you most about what's going on?
How everybody's working together.
Yeah, the teamwork.
It's amazing. You know,
over the years, we've heard a lot of
strangers,
disharmony between the uniformed services in the city. And one thing I think after today, I don't think there'll be ever any disharmony again between anybody.
So if anything, this has brought the entire community, I mean, everybody together.
General public in general. I mean, people just coming up out of nowhere, have a sandwich, have a drink, here's
there
something.
are people out there volunteering that walked up out of nowhere and they're hauling debris out there. They're working on the line.
No doubt. Firefighters, cops, EMS, nurses, doctors, everybody working together. Volunteer civilians coming up to you, handing you bottles of water, handing you food.
From everywhere, yeah.
All throughout. Looks like I'm
On the East Coast.
Connecticut and all over.
Massachusetts.
Suffolk, Nassau.
So Rhode Island.
It's
Everybody's
amazing.
here. Good. Amazing.
Well, thank you so much, and I hope you can get back in there and find the people you're looking for. And thank you for your hard work. I know you guys are really going beyond the call of duty. Thank you.
Rosanna, can you hear me?
Well, you hear
Rosanna?
these stories. I mean, the more you walk around, you see hero after hero. They don't want to be called heroes. I mean, they feel this motivation to go there and help on the people they work with and family members.
And they hear just one person has been saved, and it makes all the difference, and it really drives
But this is really driving them crazy right now because they were in there, you know, digging. Some of them, there was a big fire company that just left. They're from Brooklyn, and they were in there, and they're looking for people in their fire company, and all of a sudden they were told, get out, and they didn't want to leave. They didn't want to leave.
Again, let's update them on the latest information we have, which is the site has been evacuated, completely evacuated of all the emergency crews there because one of the buildings is in danger, they believe could collapse. And that building is 200 BC Street.
Or
which is
one,
also,
One Liberty Plaza, right? And I'm not sure if this is the building, but what they're saying is it's the old Merrill Lynch.
Yeah, we're hearing. Bob, can you hear me?
We're hearing from a number of people.
Bob, can you hear me?
There are structural engineers who are in place who are trying to figure out whether or not this building is in fact going to
let me try my mic. Can you guys hear me?
We can't let these crews back inside to do the job that they really want to do.
And we have a fire command post just set up over there, and hopefully as soon as we get some more information, we'll bring it to you. Back to you guys.
All right. Can you hear us at all, Rosanna? Bob, can either one of you hear us? No, they can't hear us. All right. Well, apparently the building that you're talking about is an old. It was built back in 1965.
I can't hear anything. Did you lose IFC?
Yeah, no, they can't hear us. Sorry about that. The buildings that you're talking about used to be the U.S. Steel building, if you go back that far. It was built in 1965, sold later to Merrill Lynch, and that apparently is the one that they are concerned is going to collapse. We're going to try and find a little bit later if there are any plans to deliberately bring any of those buildings down before they topple over onto some other building that might be...
John, let's go ahead and make mention here of this incredible video that we're looking at right now. This is raw video of Ground Zero. Now, this is some of the stuff that we haven't seen before.
No, this is first time for us.
Totally unedited.
You know, when they start talking about a war zone, you really get a feeling for that when you look at this.
We're not used to seeing stuff like this. I mean, we
are when we see something out of Beirut or something like that,
but not here.
Not downtown New York.
This is probably the worst devastation that this country has ever suffered through.
When you think about those towers, you're talking about almost a city, the size of those buildings, the interior, a couple of sizes of football fields, and the ground that was dug from them is the ground that was used to build the rest of Battery Park City down there, all the fill. So these buildings go down story after story after story, as well as having had gone up 110 stories. 50,000 people worked in them. The miles and miles of wire and tunnels underneath them. Now those tunnels filled with water, the subway system completely gone underneath. The tunnels filled to the brim with water. The turbines underneath there, the size of railroad cars, gone, completely destroyed. And all of which happened within minutes after those planes crashed into them, and took 7 years to build them.
And the number of those feared dead because of this devastation is expected to reach into the thousands. Mayor Giuliani, into the thousands. Today, Mayor Giuliani was saying that so far, the official body count is 55, although, as we're talking right now, that number is definitely going to increase, sadly.
Well, and of course, that doesn't include all those in the planes who were killed.
Exactly. About 300 firefighters are believed to be dead, 40 police officers with the New York City Police Department, 30 or more with the Port Authority Police. I mean, when you look at this, and considering the part of the city that it's in, you really have to wonder if we're going to be able to recover from this type of devastation. I mean, just think of the numbers of families, their lives have been destroyed by this.
The ripple effect is going to be phenomenal. But let's say 300 firefighters and police officers are missing rather than presumed dead at the moment, as we really should say, even though hope is so slim for all the other people, the wives who've been calling in asking about their husbands and their brothers, and the husbands concerned about their wives and everyone's friend, Penny's friend, everybody else. We just want to say missing.
Right, yeah, I know at this point missing, but right now we also have somebody who's on the phone with us, Eric Munoz. Eric, are you there?
Yes.
Hi, Eric. Are you looking for a family member or a friend,
No,
Eric?
I'm Dr. Eric Munoz. I'm a surgeon in New Jersey at University Hospital. We had a big response in New Jersey and have still been accepting patients that have been sent over. We just got a firefighter who recently transferred with multiple injuries. But I want to tell you a little bit about our response. It was really something went on in New Jersey with all this.
Yeah, we should point out, Eric, thank you, that a lot of people who are looking for people who are missing in this terrorist attack may have ended up in Jersey because an awful lot of people were ferried over there.
Well, let me tell you, I'm a surgeon. I've been there for a long time. I've been getting calls. I've been at the hospital for 2 days and up all last night, but I've been getting calls all day from people that know me asking about family, and I've had to call other hospitals in New Jersey and then give the bad news that people are not at University Hospital and not at Jersey City, and they're missing, and I guess missing is not a good situation. So I've been doing that all day, which is not very pleasant.
Have you heard anything, Eric, about possibly setting up one central number where people can call in Jersey?
Last night, there was talk about it. I'll work with the governor's office. It should be done. I think there's certainly been quite a bit of pandemonium, but everyone's pulling together and just working together.
Yeah, well, let's hope that if there is anyone with any sort of authority in New Jersey paying attention, let's get on it. Let's get one single number for people to call. That's very important.
Well, one of my side jobs is a New Jersey assemblyman. It's a state assemblyman, so I'll make a call tonight and make sure it happens. But New Jersey's response has been terrific. On the other hand, we have an unimaginable tragedy here for all of us, and you know, you've been great the way you've been doing. We'll just keep covering things, keep working.
Dr. Munoz, how many patients have you guys actually received from here?
We got, people were evacuated into New Jersey, and they went to Jersey City University. We had our whole mess respond. We got about 20 people yesterday, some incredible stories. One man carrying a baby said he thought he and the baby would die. He rushed out of the 40th floor. I'll never forget that. A firefighter we just got sent in and asked me about 4 o'clock this afternoon, because the helicopter took him over the harbor, and he said, "Where's the World Trade Center?" He asked me. He was knocked unconscious when the first building went down. What can I say to him? Where's the World Trade Center? It's gone. And just story after story.
Yeah, Dr. Munoz, we had actually heard as many as 2,000 people were actually transported to New Jersey hospitals.
There was a huge staging area in Liberty State Park. We had Newark Penn Station. We had Hoboken. There was a lot going on, and there still will be. I mean, this is going to continue to go on. The hospitals in New York were great. The whole health system really responded, but you know, there's still more to be done.
Yeah, you were actually talking about Newark Penn Station there. There was a triage center actually set up there yesterday.
Absolutely. We had our whole EMS and others down there, and it was a great response, and just the way the response has been in New York City and all over.
Have you been able to save most of the people, Doctor?
We have, you know, unfortunately, I've got to leave in a couple of minutes. I live in Summit, New Jersey. We now have a prayer vigil going on, and there are a lot of people, like typical towns, that, you know, a lot of people are missing in this town. Fathers, brothers. It's a very sad situation. People have been calling me because I'm, you know, a leader in the town, and right in the school system alone, we have 6 parents that are missing of school kids. So that's a terrible tragedy, just like a lot of suburban communities.
Right. Well, thanks for taking care of that, trying to take care of that central number for people in New York and New Jersey to call to find out where those missing fathers, if they might be under your care or someone else's in Jersey, are.
Dr. Munoz, I think I know the answer to this one, but have you ever seen anything even remotely close to this in your career?
I've worked all over the world. This is something that we won't see for centuries. This is an astounding event. It really is an astounding event. It was a great, you know, it was a great set of buildings, and just unbelievable what happened. But I've never seen anything.
Okay, well, thanks so much for calling us. We do appreciate you
Absolutely. Keep up the great job, and we'll work on the number and get it going right away.
All right, thanks, Doc.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you very much. Let's go to Mike Gilliam now in our own newsroom. Mike?
Okay, thanks, John. We have some updates for you. Newark International Airport scheduled to reopen early this evening. The Port Authority Chief Operating Officer, Ernesto Butcher, says that he'll operate under new security edicts issued by the Federal Aviation Administration.
All right, Mike, we have to interrupt you, Mike. We've got President Bush at the Pentagon, I'm told, where one of those. This is just in. Just bear with us on this. This is unedited videotape that we wanted to show you as soon as we could. This is the president talking to people at the Pentagon, trying to comfort some of them. Anywhere from 100 to 800 deaths, I'm told, at the Pentagon, where one of those planes crashed into it. Yesterday there was some speculation that perhaps that plane was on its way to the White House or to try to wipe out Air Force One. That plane crashed into a fairly new section of the Pentagon. 5 stories in the building collapsed. And as I said, the estimates there, they're still digging through that rubble in Washington as they are the rubble here in New York. So the estimates are very, very broad, very sweeping. We hope, obviously, for the lowest one, anywhere from 100 to 800 people.
John, the amazing thing about the Pentagon is that it sustained some devastating damage yesterday, and despite that, they were back open for business today in other parts of the Pentagon.
As a matter of fact, they had a news conference there yesterday just to show that this country isn't going to be brought to its knees by terrorists, and a strong showing there, and the same feeling, the same attitude that we're getting out of our own city. Okay, now let's go back to Mike. Sorry for the interruption, Mike.
Oh, not a problem at all, John. I was just updating on the Newark airport situation. They say they expect to reopen early this evening, but they will do that and operate under new security guidelines issued by the Federal Aviation Administration. Now, that would include searches of all planes and airports, no curbside check-ins, and allowing only passengers to pass through security checkpoints who are going to the gates. Only the passengers would be able to go through. So a number of new rules at airports. Now, I do have some postponements that I'd like to give you at this point. These are in New Jersey. The governor's ball is postponed from September 15th until further notice. All McGreevey for governor activities postponed until September 15th. Meeting of the State House Commission until September 17th. The East Orange Senior Citizen Cruise aboard the Spirit of New Jersey, that is canceled until further notice. All of this because of the attack on the World Trade Center. The University of Medicine and Dentistry of New Jersey is offering free grief and crisis counseling. The services are available at 15 sites throughout the state. Counselors are trained to provide help to adults and children. Their number is 1-800-969-5300. That number again is 1-800-969-5300. That's the University of Medicine and Dentistry of New Jersey for their free grief and crisis counseling. Also, in Manhattan, state courts in Manhattan are going to be closed tomorrow except for emergency services. State courts in Manhattan will be closed tomorrow except for emergency services. That's a word from the Office of Courts Administration. Now, in the other 4 boroughs, the courts will be open, but jurors should not report for duty. Jurors should not report for duty at any of the courts tomorrow. And courts outside New York City will be open. Now, if people need information on that, they can call 1-800-COURT-NEW YORK, or 1-800-COURT-NEW YORK. Now, a few other things for you. We wanted to help people who are trying to find people who are missing. So Cantor Fitzgerald, the company that was in World Trade Center 1 on the very high floors, families who are looking for employees there can go to the Pierre Hotel at 61st and 5th Avenue until 9 p.m. tonight. Or they can call 212-940-8162. And that room over at the Pierre will also be open tomorrow from 9 in the morning until 9 in the evening. Also, missing persons line. The missing persons line that the city has out there is 212-447-2998. That's 212-447-2998. For employees of the Port Authority, a couple of numbers for you, 973-565-5501, 973-565-5502. For employees of Windows of the World or the Steakhouse Wild Blue, the number there, 877-226-5170. That's 877-226-5170. Now, a couple of websites, too, that you might want to take a look at if you are looking for survivors or if, in fact, you have survived. The first one is called www.eclipse NY.com. It's a survivor network where survivors who have made it out can let people know that they are okay and that they made it. The other one is for Atlantic Highlands Medical Center. That's for victims who are transported by ferry. You can check there to see if you can find them. That's www.ahnj.com. That is for the Atlantic Highlands Medical Center for victims who are transported by ferry from the World Trade Center. We'll stay on top of this, and we're trying to find more information for you at every moment. And as soon as we get it, we'll bring it back to you. Back to you in the studio, John.
Okay, Mike, actually, John is taking a break, and Harry Martin is back with me now.
Thank you very much, Linda. We are going to check in with our newsroom right now. Patricia Wu has been there. She's been tracking a lot of the emails that we have been getting, and we have been asking you to send in emails of people who are missing and their pictures, and that's really what one of the most important aspects of this is. Patricia?
Yes, Harry, so far we've received more than 1,000 photos, and as the minutes tick by, we can only imagine what these families are going through, and we want to help you get information on these loved ones. So let's put up those pictures right away. We can go right to those photos. Let's see, so far we are not seeing any photos, but I do have some right here that were brought to me here at the station. If we can just pull into, okay, we are back up here. Missing Jim McAlery. Jim McAlery, I urge you to take a close look at these photos, especially if you're a rescue worker, if you have any information. Okay, let's go to the next one. We have Joe Giacone. Joe Giacone, he was last seen on the 103rd floor of the World Trade Center. We have another photo coming up. This is Kevin Cleary. Kevin Cleary. Now, these numbers that you are seeing are the numbers that the folks who have emailed us have given us. You can call these numbers if you have any information about these people. Now, our next photo here is Craig Staub. Craig Staub. Continuing on, we have Sankara Velamuri. Sankara Velamuri, he was last seen on the 86th floor of 2 World Trade Center. So far, that's all the time we have, but we will be coming back periodically with these photos. We want to help you, so keep the photos coming. If we have any information, we will let you know. Back to you in the studio.
All right, Patricia, thank you very much. Let's go to our newsline right now. Anna Gertzberg joins us, and Anna is missing a daughter. Anna, what can you tell us?
Yeah, my daughter is 25 years old. She started working at Cantor Cathedral about 7 days ago.
So she just started a new job.
She started the job.
What floor was she on?
She was on 101st floor.
The 101st floor of which tower?
It's first tower. It's first tower.
The tower
number 1.
Tower number 1.
Yes.
When was it that you last heard from her?
I spoke to her the night before. I tried to call her in the morning. It was about 10 minutes to 9. She usually calls me.
So you
but
tried.
It was no voicemail, nothing.
You tried to call her at the office?
Yes, I did.
And you tried to call her shortly after, I guess, the first plane hit the other
I didn't even know it hit it. Somebody came and they told it hit it. At 10 to 9, I didn't know anything yet. Because we didn't have television and radio at work. I was at work.
Okay, tell us about Marina. She just started a new job. She was on the 101st floor. She was in the World Trade Center 1.
She was beautiful. She's a beautiful girl. And we sent you an email with her picture, but I didn't see it.
Yes, and I understand that we are still sorting through many of those emails. The response has been overwhelming, and we are still going through those. Certainly, if we can find,
appreciate it.
certainly if we can find Marina's picture, we will put it up for you.
If anybody know anything about her, just let me know. My phone number is 718-843-2708.
2708. 2708. All right, Anna Gertzberg, we thank you very much for joining us on the news line here, and we certainly wish you all the best, and as we do to every single family awaiting what has actually happened and what is actually going on. A couple of things just to bring you up to date on a few of the developments that happened over the last several hours. If you're just joining us right now, we of course are going to be giving you all kinds of updates, all kinds of telephone numbers, all kinds of information about websites where you can actually log on to the web to find out what has been happening. Earlier today, Secretary of State Colin Powell called. This is Condoleezza Rice now. This is a live picture. She's with, she of course, National Security advisor. She is at the Pentagon right now. You just saw some tape of President Bush at the Pentagon a few moments ago, but this is a live picture, so do forgive us if the camera might be moving around just a little bit. They are trying to position themselves in such a way that they can certainly get the best picture for you. You can see the damage there, that huge, huge crater in part of the Pentagon. The Pentagon was undergoing a major renovation. The Pentagon is a building dating back decades, and when it was first designed, when it was first built, it was known for its unique design. A lot of people said it was a folly, it was ridiculous to build a five-sided building. Since it has become a hallmark, a trademark of the United States military. And certainly, there was also, certainly if they had intended, there of course is the President, and certainly had they intended to, well, let's see if he's going to any remarks. Let's listen.
Overwhelmed by the devastation. I am so grateful for the people who are working here. We're here to say thanks to not only the workers on this site, but the workers who are doing the same work in New York City. I want to say thanks to the folks who have given blood to the Red Cross. I want to say thanks for the hundreds and thousands of Americans who pray for the victims and their families. Secretary Rumsfeld told me when I talked to him that he felt the blast shake the Pentagon. Even though he was on the other side of the building rocked. And now I know why. Coming here makes me sad on the one hand. It also makes me angry. And our country will, however, not be cowed by terrorists, by people who don't share the same values we share, by people who are willing to destroy people's lives because we embrace freedom. Our nation mourns, but our government will go on. The country will function. We're on high alert for any possible activity. But coming here confirms what the Secretary and I both know, that this nation, the people here working hard, prove it. People out here working their hearts out to answer families' questions, to remove the rubble and debris from this awful scene. And again, thank everybody, not only on this site, but all across America, who are responding so generously, so kindly in their prayers, and their contributions of blood, and their willingness to help in any way they can.
And those were some impromptu remarks by President Bush. He was flanked, of course, by Donald Rumsfeld. President Bush saying that he was sad and angry at the same time, and that this country will not be pushed around by terrorists, people who do not share the same values as we do, people who do not embrace freedom. The country is on a high alert at this point. You could see the Pentagon there, the picture of the Pentagon, that there is a huge American flag hanging from there just to the one side of the crater. There were reports earlier this afternoon, and also the State Department in one White House briefing had indicated that the actual target, rather than the Pentagon, the actual target was the White House. And they said that they do have some pretty solid information that the White House was the actual target and not the Pentagon. At this point, it really doesn't seem to make certainly that much difference, because it doesn't ease the devastation, it doesn't ease the pain. The death toll may be anywhere between 100 and 800 people. Rick Leventhal now is in Lower Manhattan, and he has the very latest on the rescue effort in Lower Manhattan. Rick.
You know, it's difficult to know just exactly what's happening at the site, because we're hearing a lot of different stories from a lot of different people, but I can tell you that at about 5:20 this afternoon, we saw hundreds of people
leaving the site in a hurry. Police officers evacuating all of the rescue workers at the scene and telling the media to get back, pushing us back another block or so from where we were set up because of fears apparently that yet another building in that area might collapse. Workers who were on scene reported hearing a rumbling, seeing smoke coming from below and above one of the buildings there, One Liberty Plaza, and also the Millennium building. Also a concern. One guy I talked to, a transit worker, was down cleaning up the subway tracks in the areas below that building, said he heard the rumble, and when he came out, he saw the smoke, and everyone was just running. He hurt his ankle and his leg in an effort to get out of there quickly. Hundreds of other people also evacuated, and as far as we know, no one has yet been allowed back into the scene except for a few firefighters who are apparently going back to just sort of see if things are safe in the area. Certainly the rescue efforts were in full swing. There were as many as
New York and in Washington may continue on their routes, but the country's air system is still very much in jeopardy. ABC's Lisa Stark, I beg your pardon, ABC's Lisa Stark covers aviation for us. Thanks very much, Lisa.
Well, Peter, we had hoped early in the day that sometime around noon Eastern time, the Federal Aviation Administration would reopen the nation's airspace. Airlines could start resuming some sort of scheduled service. As the day went on, it was clear that was not to be, that the security measures were simply not in place yet to allow that to happen. So as you've reported, as of tonight, we have only very limited air service here in the United States. Today, virtually the only planes moving were flights diverted from their original destinations, including some that had been forced to land in Canada. Other passengers at airports around the United States were told they were going nowhere. At Dallas-Fort Worth, there was frustration from passengers and airline employees.
It's been suspended by the FAA indefinitely. Now, indefinitely maybe is tomorrow morning. It may be 2 weeks from now.
On a normal travel day, there are as many as 40,000 flights in the United States. On this day, as planes sat parked on the ground, many of the major airports were deserted. This was Los Angeles International. At Washington's National Airport, passengers were escorted in to collect luggage they had not been able to get yesterday. The delay in resuming air travel is due to stringent new security measures that airports and airlines must first put in place. They include an explosives check before airports reopen, no curbside check-in, ticketed passengers only allowed at the gates, a ban on all knives on planes, and planes will be thoroughly searched before passengers are allowed on board.
I know that all Americans want us to move as quickly and prudently as possible to return our national airspace system to normal. And we will, as soon as we can do so safely.
No doubt these security measures will lead to significant delays. Passengers will notice more uniformed officers, random identification checks, and restrictions on vehicles near the airport.
It's inconvenient, but nothing compared to what people in the East have gone through, so you gotta do what you gotta do.
I think everybody will embrace whatever new security mechanisms are put in place with a lot of welcome over the next month or two, but then they're going to get tired of it.
One airline told us it could be weeks before the air transportation system is truly up and running. And it is still very unclear when any regularly scheduled service will truly begin. It's supposed to begin tomorrow. Every airline has their own estimation of when that might be. Some airlines will resume those flights tonight, the flights that were diverted. Some will not even do so until tomorrow morning. So I would expect it will still be very chaotic tomorrow as the airlines and the FAA try to figure out how to get the system back up and running.
Thanks very much, Lisa Stark. Lisa Stark is in Seattle and has been stranded in Seattle ever since. To some people, this is an inconvenience. To some, it's a real business problem. And to others, it is a real catastrophe. Here's an example. The chief of transplant surgery at the University of Pittsburgh, Dr. John Fung, told us that they had a liver which was available for transplant that would have gone to a person in Philadelphia, but they couldn't fly from Pittsburgh to Philadelphia, which they needed that kind of speed in circumstances like this, and so the person who most needed it did not get it. Instead, they've used it on a patient in Pittsburgh who was not nearly as sick, and that's exactly the kind of thing in extremis that is happening as a result of the aviation system continuing to be locked down. Now, we've been very concerned and curious and mystified by what's been happening, or what happened, not ultimately, but in the process of United Flight 93, which was the 757 left Newark to go to San Francisco and ended up crashing in Pennsylvania. But ABC's Connie Chung has been talking to United Airlines today, and I think may have more. Connie?
Yes, Peter, I've also been talking to American Airlines representatives and mainly the families of victims who were involved in the hijackings of those families of victims who were on board those 4 planes that were hijacked. And what I have discovered is something that could be considered quite disturbing to many people, and that is that both airlines have offered immediately to the next of kin $25,000. Now, you may say this is a standard practice, but in these particular instances, both United Airlines and American Airlines are offering, right as they say, up front, automatically, as soon as they determine who the next of kin is, they send a letter with a check immediately to the family. The last time, what I was curious about was, when did this practice start? I mean, we've heard about settlements between the families of loved ones who become victims in airline crashes, but is this standard practice? Well, American Airlines got back to me on that question and said the first time that was ever done was just the previous incident. That was in June of 1999, a crash in Little Rock, Arkansas. Right at that time, apparently all the airlines began offering cash settlements up front. And prior to that, this practice had not occurred. One other question that I wanted to know was, is this $25,000 per victim? And it is. It is. If a family has more than one member who was killed in any of these incidents, it is upped beyond $25,000.
Connie, thanks very much, Connie Chung. It's clearly something we want to talk to in the future to United Airlines and American Airlines. Connie points out at the beginning that it's standard operating procedure for airlines at the moment, and no further comment on it at the moment. You can feel a measure of irritation in the air. There's no question about that, at the very least. But yesterday's attacks have generated an enormous and visceral anger at a lot of things around the country. Most of all, that the United States was vulnerable and that these terrorists managed to reach their objective. Here's ABC's Dean Reynolds in Chicago.
Judging from conversations across the country today, many people are angry and unwilling to wait long for an American retaliation.
Revenge. I want to get even.
This woman near Miami spoke for many.
Send out the F-15s, the F-16s, and go after them.
From St. Louis,
I think we should bomb them back. I really do.
Where the Gateway Arch reopened, came a call for action.
The people should be angry that these terrorists are protected by other countries around the world.
It will be hard to pinpoint a culprit, but many Americans, like this immigrant from Lebanon, said that was no excuse for delay.
They know who's behind all this. They know what countries supporting all these people. They give them money, they give them weapons, they give them everything.
A stranded flyer in Wichita was not interested in a measured response.
They need to find out whoever did this, and they need to clean their clock. I mean, into the Stone Age. This is ridiculous. This does not happen in the United States.
In Columbus, Ohio, it was all about stature.
They can't push us around like this. We're the #1 nation, and let's do something about it.
And in Los Angeles, a woman said anything short of a violent response would be useless.
No, I don't feel vengeance, but I think the enemy's got to be eradicated. And you cannot talk with the enemy. You can't rationalize when all they want to do is kill.
For commuters in Chicago, there was no stomach for restraint.
I feel that if we need to have a full-scale war, then we should go ahead and do it. We should at least let them know that the United States isn't going to tolerate this.
I think these people, whoever did it, and I have no idea who did it, are a bunch of cowards. And I would love to face them face to face and tell them that they're a bunch of cowards.
A Palestinian worshiper at a downtown mosque supported the president.
President Bush should go after who's doing this and who's harboring them.
But as she dropped her young children off at school this morning, one mother touched on the difficulty a tough response would face.
Can we take out 1 or 2 people and be done with it? I'm not sure. I don't think so. I think it's a cultural thing, and you can't eradicate an entire culture.
Elected officials across the country continue to call for calm, and some, including Illinois Governor George Ryan, are warning people not to take matters into their own hands. Ryan issued that warning in light of reports that several mosques in this area have received threatening phone calls. Dean Reynolds, ABC News, Chicago.
Thank you, Dean. As the mayor of New York said, there's no accounting for prejudice and bigotry at a time like this, and people's passions have boiled over, and so has their prejudice and bigotry on occasion. And that mayor, the mayor of Chicago, local and state officials all across the country have quite sensibly reminded people that terrorism is not automatically associated with Islam. At any rate, the president went over to the Pentagon a short while ago. You heard Terry Moran talk about that, and here's a brief excerpt of what he had to say when he was overseeing people there.
Coming here makes me sad on the one hand. It also makes me angry. And our country will, however, not be cowed by terrorists.
Mr. Bush said earlier today, when he was having a cabinet meeting earlier, I just want to check precisely on my notes, he urged the country to be patient and to be resolved, and made it clear, as did the Secretary of State, that there was going to be any retaliation until they found out who it was that they intended to retaliate against. And it will be made particularly more complicated if, as many senior officials have said, it is discovered that a government is involved or complicit in this in any way. But the United States undoubtedly has the capacity to respond. And now we're going to go to the Pentagon, and our Pentagon correspondent, who's worked very long hours, John McCarthy. John.
Peter, it should come as no surprise that planners in this building and elsewhere within the military complex are hard at work drawing up an entire menu for a military response. The U.S. already has the firepower in the region to strike many targets simultaneously. Planes on land and aboard 2 aircraft carriers, long-range Tomahawk cruise missiles on other ships and submarines. And there are also ground troops that could be used in a more extreme response. It is not the firepower that is in question. It is the choice of targets. Who or what would the U.S. hit? How massive would the strikes be? And would an American response inflict real pain, crippling future attempts at terrorism, or would it just make the U.S. feel better? Secretary of State Colin Powell says the response must be broad-based.
It's not just a matter of going after the perpetrators, but it's going after and dealing with the sources of support that they have.
Say that doesn't mean to me that one just selects a facility or so here and there and puts a few cruise missiles on it in the middle of the night. That's we're way past that. We suffered an attack like Pearl Harbor yesterday. Someone is at war with us.
But too harsh a response, one that takes the lives of many innocent civilians, could easily backfire, with the U.S. losing the moral high ground.
We have to be careful to shape our response so that perception remains and so that we don't overnight be seen in some quarters as an aggressor.
Defense Secretary Rumsfeld today seemed to suggest whatever the U.S. does will not happen soon.
Anyone who thinks it's easy is wrong. I think that it will require a sustained and broadly based effort.
And the administration today began working on that broad-based response. Part of what they're doing is requesting an unusual level of support from NATO, Peter. They are asking not that the NATO allies would actually participate in any military action, but they want broad and very vocal public support from the European allies.
Jack, before I go on to talk about the U.S. and the rest of the world, the fire at the Pentagon today, which we talked about this morning, is it still burning?
It is finally out, Peter, and they are finally in the process of sending in search and rescue people to remove what they expect are going to be only bodies.
Okay, thank you very much, John McCarthy at the Pentagon this evening. At his news conference earlier today, the Secretary of State, Mr. Powell, said that the U.S. expected the fullest cooperation from Pakistan in gathering information about these attacks on the United States. Pakistan, of course, is right next door to Afghanistan, and we know that Afghanistan has been a refuge for Osama bin Laden, and we also know that Pakistan itself harbors or has many supporters of Osama bin Laden, and there is a strain of militant extremism there. That's a redundancy, I realize. There's a strain of extremism there which worries the United States about stability in the region in general. ABC's Bob Woodruff is in the Pakistani capital, Islamabad, tonight. Bob, do we know precisely what the United States has been telling the military leadership in Pakistan today?
We don't know precisely, Peter, but we do know that for the last 2 days there have been high-level diplomatic talks going on both in Washington and here in Islamabad regarding Pakistan's potential cooperation with the United States. You can assume that at a minimum it would be to share intelligence on Osama bin Laden's organization and possibly also to talk about military cooperation. As the focus on bin Laden hardens, there is a lot of anticipation that there may be a U.S. retaliation in this region, not so much here in Pakistan, of course, but in Afghanistan. In fact, in Kabul, the capital of Afghanistan, the aid workers at the United Nations have completely cleared out. The rest of them will actually leave later on today. It's about 4 o'clock in the morning here on Thursday. They have paid off their local staff, and they've taken with them many of the documents and computer disks. Meantime, there is a lot of diplomatic ducks being put in a row here. The brand new U.S. ambassador to Pakistan will be meeting with the president of ambassador to Pakistan will be meeting with the president of Pakistan, General Pervez Musharraf, later on today, on Thursday, that's tomorrow your time, to talk more about this cooperation. But again, the Taliban has condemned this so far, and they said there will be no talk about any kind of extradition or move against bin Laden until the U.S. comes forward with some evidence that he may actually be involved in this.
Well, I think everybody agrees everywhere about that, Bob. The question is for Pakistan at the moment. It's a pretty unstable nation, and there is deep support in the country for acts of terrorism against the West in some elements of the Pakistani society. Is there any reason to think that Pakistan can be brought firmly onto the side of the United States in this?
Well, there is some talk about possibly giving some extra support or aid to Pakistan to try to get that over. Also, and a very interesting thing, I talked to a government minister today in Pakistan, and he said, look, the World Trade Center was a very different kind of thing. This was a very international target. And they say that there were about 1,200 to 1,500 Pakistani nationals inside the building when it was attacked, inside those buildings. So again, there's reason now for the Pakistani government to be more sympathetic to the United States in this attack than other types of terrorist action. So whether there are militants here in Pakistan that would support generally an attack against the United States is one question, but in this particular strike, would they support it or would they be more sympathetic to the United States?
Okay, thanks very much, Bob Woodruff in Pakistan tonight. We're going to stay overseas. There's trauma and there is rage and there is anxiety in the region as a whole, just as there is in the United States tonight. Around the world, people have been reacting in very different ways to this. But leaders certainly throughout the Arab world have expressed their sympathy and their condolences. The Palestinian President Yasser Arafat actually donated blood today for the victims. And one of the Palestinians' leading spokesmen, Hanan Ashrawi, very familiar to Americans, expressed her condolences. And so did the Iranian President, Khatami. President Khatami expressed his condolences today. There's a whole network of complicated relationships being tested in the region and throughout the world this evening. Now, there are several reasons, it can be argued, which may have contributed to this attack against the United States by extremists and terrorists on this occasion, and ABC's Jim Wooten picks up that dimension of the story.
This is the president's explanation for what happened yesterday.
America was targeted for attack because we're the brightest beacon for freedom and opportunity in the world.
America may be exactly that. But that is not why a few Muslims would murder so many Americans or why others would applaud their crime. In fact, the U.S. is a target because many Arabs see the U.S. as an accomplice of Israel, a partner in what they believe is the ruthless repression of Palestinian aspirations for land and independence.
Many in the Arab world regard the United States not as an honest broker, but protecting and shielding Israel over very important political as well as religious issues.
The most provocative issues? Israel's control over Islamic holy sites in Jerusalem, the stationing of U.S. troops in Saudi Arabia near some of Islam's holiest sites, and economic sanctions against Iraq, which are seen to deprive children there of medicine and food. But perhaps nothing has been more infuriating to many Arabs as Israel's recent attacks on Palestinian militants, using American-built helicopters as gunships. prompting this kind of Arab response today.
Of course, I'm sorry for the civilians, for everything, but that's the price for everything they did, the states. I mean, the states had to pay the price for the suffering of the whole world.
That rationale may seem irrational, but it is an explanation for yesterday's madness shared by many Arabs in the Middle East and elsewhere. It explains nothing and everything. Jim Wooten, ABC News, London.
Well, this is not an easy time to be an Arab American or to be an American who happens to be a Muslim. In Dallas overnight, shots were fired at a Texas Islamic center, and Muslims who attend the center fear that it was indeed a backlash after the attacks yesterday. Windows were shot out of the center, which includes a mosque and an Islamic school. And it's just inevitable, one supposes, that at a time like this, many Arab Americans and many Muslims feel themselves very much on the defensive and in many cases threatened. ABC's John Donvan reports from Detroit, which has one of the largest Arab and one of the largest Muslim communities in the country.
An attack, a fireball, a death toll in the thousands, and it is predictable, it is normal, it is human that as Americans we want to get even. But get even with whom? When the news pretty consistently suggests the ethnicity of the terrorists.
At least 5 suspects identified as Arab men.
And when the pictures come in showing Arabs in the Middle East celebrating our sorrow, some Americans jump to conclusions and begin to make threats against fellow Americans. Detroit, the offices of the Arab American News, that's Arab American. The phone has been ringing there.
I hope every Arab big-born son of a dies.
Washington State, a town called Shoreline, where apparently a number of people actually scoured the yellow pages for companies with the word Arabic in the name and found this Arabic language and translation.
It's time for you pigs to get out of the country.
And who is Arabic language and translation? A woman who moved here from Lebanon, a Christian by the way, 32 years ago to become an American.
I just got emails from my friend, and she is 2 or 3 saying that they're afraid their kids are at school and what's going to happen to their kids.
And then there are some of the postings to our own ABC News message board. The Muslims are a bunch of savages that should be nuked off the face of the earth. The Islamic way of life, their nations, their culture must be eradicated. We should deport them and make it illegal for Arabs to live here until terrorism is completely eliminated. And if you're an American who is a Muslim, or say anyone else of Middle Eastern appearance, how are you supposed to feel? Osama Soblani edits that Detroit newspaper.
We are part of America, and we are part of the victims, not of the perpetuators.
But you could hear it yesterday when New York City's mayor spoke, concerned that Arab Americans could become targets of an unfocused anger.
Nobody should blame any group of people or any nationality or any ethnic group.
Any cop in America will tell you immigrants from Middle Eastern countries are as law-abiding as anyone. They have unusually strong family values. They mostly vote Republican. But Oklahoma City happened in 1995, and they all felt like suspects. Now the World Trade Center, and they feel like it's happening again. The principle at work is called guilt by association.
Not everybody sitting there on their couch in the living room is very smart to distinguish between Osama bin Laden and Osama Soblani. And that is scaring the hell out of us in here.
In fact, Muslims have been giving blood along with everyone else these last 2 days. Abroad, moderate Arab leaders have been expressing sympathy.
Now you have to pick yourself up, as difficult as that is, dust yourself off and take the fight back to them again.
And presumably, Americans who are Muslims will be burying family members who, side by side with fellow Americans, went to work yesterday and died, like everyone else, as victims of terrorism. John Donvan, ABC News, Washington.
And now, for reasons we do not fully understand, the Attorney General, John Ashcroft, has decided to make a second appearance today at the Justice Department to talk to the news media and to the country, one presumes. He did appear earlier today and gave us an update on the investigation. Maybe that is just what he wants to do again. ABC's Pierre Thomas has managed to get back to Washington today from New York. Not a great many people did that with great ease, Pierre, but do you have any sense of what Mr. Ashcroft has on his mind at the moment?
Well, I think he wants to continue to assure the American people that the investigation is unfolding very quickly, that they have leads that they're following, that they are pursuing people who are associated with the people who carried out this particular attack. Peter, we're told that at least 3 people who are associated, friends and or family of those who carried out the attacks, are being held. They're being held on various immigration charges, also state charges. Again, no charges specific to these attacks, but they're being held in order to gather information. The hope is that some of these people will cooperate.
As you get back there and talk to your sources at the FBI and elsewhere in the Justice Department, are they content with the pace of the investigation today?
Well, again, on one front, they're frustrated. For example, they cannot begin looking at the crime scenes, doing the forensic work that they want to do. However, the flight manifest yesterday gave them leads. They are actively pursuing these suspects. And again, the fact that they know most of the identities of the attackers, they think, is very critical and is allowing them to expand the investigation.
Okay, thanks very much, Pierre. The Attorney General has joined us. Now, Mr. Ashcroft, I apologize. I thought you were going to come and make a public appearance at again, as you did earlier today. I had no idea that you and I were going to have an opportunity to talk, but I'm grateful for it.
Thank you.
I'm sorry to keep you while I'm talking to Pierre Thomas, asking him whether you're content with the pace of the investigation. Let me ask you directly. Are you content? That's not the right word. Are you okay with the pace of the investigation today and what you revealed so far?
Well, we've been able to mobilize quite a group of investigators, about 4,000 special agents of the FBI, 3,000 support personnel. We have specially trained individuals, scientists, lab technicians, and the like, additional 1,000 that are available. We have all of the field offices of the FBI that are activated here, and we're pursuing about a couple thousand leads, some more promising than others, and obviously those are important. So we have gotten this up and running. We've developed crime scenes at each of the places where the airplanes impacted the ground. The FBI has been in charge of those scenes to put out grids so that we can collect the kind of forensic evidence that'll be appropriate to our investigation. So we've made a really good start, and we're going to keep working on this, and we're going to do everything possible. No more significant or substantial investigation has ever been launched in this country.
Now, have you arrested people? Have you detained people? Have you simply questioned people? There's some confusion about that.
Well, there are no arrests to my knowledge. There have been people who have been detained, and I wouldn't want to comment on specific incidents, but the fact of the matter is, if there's anything that supports arrests or detentions that are valuable to us in developing an understanding of who's responsible and who provided some of the ground support for this situation, then we'll take that action.
Let me just focus on one of the pieces of information which you did share with the public earlier today. You said you discovered that some people, some of the individuals on board the aircraft, had been trained as pilots in the United States, which implies that they had some measure of control when those planes finally did what they did. Can you be more specific with what you actually mean in terms of that part of the investigation?
Well, obviously, for an individual to target an airplane and to target it successfully on a building, or to land it as it was landed virtually in the side of the Pentagon, these are individuals who have skills. These are individuals who are not someone who decided they'd like to take over an airplane. And I believe that skill is from pilot training, and there's some significant evidence to that effect.
Do you believe, sir, or do you have evidence to support Mr. Fleischer's statement of the White House today that the White House was specifically a target?
Our government has information, credible information, that the White House and Air Force One were targeted.
And do clarify this for us. Was the White House a target for the aircraft which ultimately crashed into the Pentagon?
I'm not able to comment further on the nature of any evidence related to that. I would just say that we have evidence that the White House and Air Force One were targeted.
But Mr. Fleischer did say that the aircraft which crashed into the Pentagon today was actually had as its original target the White House, or was it also a target? I think that's what's unclear to people.
Well, I'm prepared to say that we have credible evidence in this government that indicates that the White House and Air Force One were targets, and to go further would not be appropriate.
Okay, and finally, sir, do you have evidence which you have compiled in the wake of these attacks which links Osama bin Laden to these operations in any way, shape, or form?
We're not in a position to make an attribution of specific responsibility at this time. We're still pursuing a number of leads, over 2,000 of them, and when we have an appropriate assemblage of evidence and we feel like an announcement should be made, we'll make it then.
Do you believe, sir, one more question, I apologize, do you believe that the discussion that's been held in the public arena today about your investigation in any way distracts from your investigation or has been anything other than realistic?
Well, I'm not party to the discussion myself. I've been working hard on the investigation, but I think it's entirely appropriate for the public to discuss the investigation, to understand the event, and we'll certainly do what we can to cooperate with the public. The public providing leads to us and cooperating with us are an essential component of our investigation's success.
In this, I meant to include, of course, the public and the press. And do you approve of the discussion that's been held in the media today?
Well, one of the things that we want to fight to preserve in America is the freedom of the press. Those who would seek to destroy America and our freedoms make an assault on our liberty to discuss things openly, both in the press as individuals. And with that in mind, I don't criticize the press for making its discussions. When it wants me to answer a question which I should not answer, I'm simply going to say I don't believe I should answer that question.
As I have carefully noted, thank you very much. The Attorney General of the United States, John Ashcroft, this evening, giving us his views of the state of the investigation and how much he wants to say about it at this particular moment. So let's move on to the impact that this has had on the economy, both in the short term, certainly in the medium term, and perhaps in the long term. For a briefing on that, we're joined again by our business and economics correspondent, Betsy Stark. I apologize, I get you and Lisa mixed up sometimes.
Well, let me start today with the very near term, Peter. One big question today was when would U.S. stock markets reopen? And the answer we got this afternoon was no later than Monday, no earlier than Friday. This would still make it the longest stretch of time the market has ever been closed. Market officials said financial firms need time to recover, rescuers need room to work, and the delay will also give emotions time to cool. Businesses around the country were open today, but it was not business as usual. Some stores opened late. The Limited cited security precautions, and many retailers reported fewer customers than usual.
It's not a regular Wednesday for us, and it's kind of a gloomy type of atmosphere right now.
The manager of this bookstore in Chicago says customers are in no mood to shop.
I think today people, the first day back after being at home all day yesterday watching television, everyone's sort of in a state of shock.
In Los Angeles, Universal Studios reported fewer visitors to its theme park. Midway Airlines, already in deep financial trouble, said the slowdown in air traffic would put the company and its 1,700 workers out of business. Some economists believe Tuesday's attack will push a fragile economy into a full-blown recession.
We have been performing a high wire act, and I think it has become even more perilous.
Others believe the chilling effects of Tuesday's attack will be temporary, that as the rescue mission becomes a rebuilding effort, spending will pick up, and so will consumer sentiment.
This event actually has some stimulative effects to it because this is a country that rebuilds.
For businesses at Ground Zero, the focus is on the human toll. Among the tenants in the World Trade Center, Bank of America has accounted for most of its 400 workers, insurer Marcia McLennan for several hundred of its 1,700 workers, and in a video message to employees this morning, the CEO of Morgan Stanley, the largest tenant in the Twin Towers, said most of its 3,500 workers got out safely.
The reason they did is they started evacuating World Trade Center 2 immediately upon hearing about the terrorist attack on World Trade Center 1.
The firm now wants customers to know that despite the devastation, their assets and records are safe.
What the clients need
is all of you calling the clients, talking to them, giving them reassurance.
Morgan Stanley and other Wall Street firms developed sophisticated backup systems after the World Trade Center bombing of 1993.
Most of these firms run what are called hot backup sites. That is a place that's running real time somewhere else in the world, often across the river in New Jersey, where the systems are running in parallel with those main systems.
Well, interesting to note that overseas markets in Europe and Latin America, which sold off sharply yesterday, traded higher today, and after losses yesterday, the dollar rebounded. The economy is showing some resilience. Investors are showing some faith after an understandably emotional reaction yesterday, Peter.
I was slightly distracted, which I hope you'll understand. Did you mention travel and tourism as a percentage of the economy there today?
Not as a percentage of the economy, but tourism was absolutely down today, whether you measure it by theme parks or by traveling about.
There's some figures which suggest that travel and tourism account for about 3.5% of the economy. That's a $35 trillion business. So that begins to, that contributes more bad news to the general state of the economy overall, particularly if the air travel ban continues.
That's right. When the airlines aren't flying, that's a big blow, both in terms of business travelers and tourists.
Okay, many thanks, Betsy Stark. And now we want to go back to Diane Sawyer, who is in lower Manhattan, or as low in Manhattan as you're allowed to get at this moment, and at least to the crime scene itself. And Diane, when we last left you...
Lost my IFB. I lost my sound to you, yeah.
Okay,
If you can hear me, Peter, I'm going to go ahead and just tell you what is happening down here. Part of it may be the fact that we have all this activity down here. I want to show you the smoke behind me. We've got a billowing cloud coming toward us. I mentioned earlier that they were worried about some 4 buildings being wobbly. Well, it seems that one of them, which is One Liberty Plaza, which is the Merrill Lynch building, it is a 54-story building, is in the process of collapsing. It, of course, has been long since evacuated, but they were saying earlier that it was listing degree by degree by degree, and it seems quite clear now that that building is going down. And as we said, there may be several others that right now are having trouble and that they're watching every single minute. Needless to say, again, that this makes a huge, huge, and even more complicating difficulty for the rescue teams out there. We were just saying around here, why does it take a devastating act of evil to remind you how powerful goodness really is? And if you want to see courage, you're going to see it now on the faces of those rescue workers going in the grime and the sweat. They are insisting that they be allowed to go back in, even though this can happen any minute, and there is danger absolutely everywhere.
Someone said courage is just fear that has said its prayers. Like the courage of firefighters and search and rescue teams digging, shoveling, sifting through 200,000 tons of pulverized steel, trying to find bodies.
I walked through the rubble looking for my buddies that I know were missing. I walked through the entire rubble and didn't find anybody.
It was basically one big rubble, metal and concrete. Trying to hear someone fall out.
We're with the men of Engine 24 who have worked almost sleeplessly since yesterday. They're looking for their brothers, their friends from Company Ladder 5. Their pictures still smile down from the wall.
Words can't describe how I feel about those guys. Just praying and hoping to get some of our guys back.
But there's a grim discovery. The twisted hulk of a truck. It is from Ladder 5.
It's such a disaster that you don't think about yourself anymore, you know? Just don't even, just keep moving, you know? It's like, God gives you the strength to get through it.
Every success keeps them going. This morning, some of the emergency services team who helped rescue a police officer buried up to his chest in heavy metal. They got intravenous help to him and medication, sustaining him through the night. And all through the city, mothers, fathers, children, fiancés. Some of them walked miles to get here because so much of the city is closed. They carry photos, willing themselves to keep hoping.
I'm just going to keep going. I'm not going to lose hope, and I'm going to go as long as I have to until I find him, because I know he's going to come back to me.
I've been going to different hospitals, leaving them on poles and trucks, and left one on your truck and got in touch with me. I appreciate that. And we've been in hospitals all day since yesterday, so if anybody could help us, there he is again. Sean.
Back in the rubble, another rescue. 2 workers from the Port Authority. Buried for close to 24 hours, they called out, and they were heard.
We got one out alive about 1 o'clock this morning, and then we got another one out about 5:30 this morning.
Reinforcements are on the way from as far away as California, and from Indiana, from Pennsylvania, gathering at the Jacob Javits Convention Center this afternoon to get briefed on how to take up some of the burden. Already here, 53 search and rescue dogs who've been flown in from as far away as Puerto Rico, trained to the scent of a human. The rescue teams also have listening devices that can hear a murmur, a scratch, a thump. They will be moving out all night, moving carefully, like people who know what real urgency is. Every second, someone might still be breathing. Maybe someone whose life can be saved by one weary man.
So, Peter, I'm going to leave this spot now and head back down into the street and try to get up to the scene if I can, because believe me, there is a story every inch as you move that way, and we want to start feeding them back to you. So I'll be going now from here.
Thanks very much, Diane Sawyer, who is in Lower Manhattan tonight. There are a couple. We all misspeak, I'm sure, on a variety of occasions. As Diane wanted to point out that she did misspeak earlier. Local hospitals in New York are not filled with 11,000 people, rather 1,100 people. In case you noticed that, she wanted us to be sure that we corrected that. And there is some question now about the status of One Liberty Plaza, this building to which she refers in the darkness, which is very hard because it has been near collapse, as we pointed out through much of the afternoon. And we're not absolutely certain that despite reports on the wire services that it has collapsed, that it actually did collapse. So that particular element of the crisis, and it is still a crisis in Lower Manhattan, is still very much on hold. Life in the country, in so many ways, is on hold.
Some are appointed, but most of whom are elected have to make these critical decisions with not a lot of sleep. And I haven't seen it taking its toll, except the governor did look a little.
We'll be returning to the local news. I'll see you tonight at 8 Eastern Time for continuing coverage.
Startling developments in the attack on America. Evidence the hijacked plane that struck the Pentagon was meant to destroy the White House, and that the president's plane was also a target.
And he was telling us about how so many people from the building trades have volunteered their time, volunteered their equipment. They wanted to come in. They had such a huge response over the first 12 hours that you had to say, whoa, hang on a minute and just hold back, because we'll need second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth waves to get this done. You've been in the business for quite a while. When you see the devastation like this, where do you start? How are you going to get all of this out of here?
Well, I think the key thing is the leadership that our elected officials and our emergency management personnel are giving us, because we don't move until they tell us to move. They come in, assess the situation, tell us when we're supposed to be moving in sort of a search mode, and when we can begin to move this incredible rubble that is just devastated lower downtown. So we take our leadership from them, and they've been doing a great job.
And they're also in harm's way as well.
Yeah, I think sometimes we underestimate. I mean, it's not only, you know, you were talking about the physical toll and all the hours, but the emotional toll.
Excuse me, Lou, we have to interrupt you here for just a second. We'll come right back to you. We're going to go to Mike Gilliam now, who is in the newsroom with the latest update on information that's important for you to know. Mike.
Okay, Linda, thank you very much. Update you on Newark Airport right now. Newark International Airport is reopening this evening, but it will only take in 18 incoming flights. No aircraft are scheduled to depart tonight at Newark. And Newark will also operate under new security edicts issued by the Federal Aviation Administration. That will include searches of all planes and airports, no curbside check-ins, and allowing only passengers to pass through security checkpoints down to the gates. Also, we have a number of things that are open, some things that are closed for tomorrow, and I want to run down some of those for you right now, too. Normal service on the Long Island Railroad. Normal service on Metro North. Staten Island bridges have been reopened. The George Washington Bridge upper deck open in both ways. The lower deck will be closed. The Lincoln Tunnel will be reopened to traffic in both ways. The Holland Tunnel, which empties into Lower Manhattan, is going to be closed until further notice. Path operations have resumed from Hoboken and Newark to 33rd Street, the station there. The Port Authority is talking with the Coast Guard and police about reopening the ferry terminals. New Jersey Transit is offering regular rail service to and from Penn Station in New York and Hoboken, and New Jersey Transit bus service is available in New Jersey only. Most subway service resumed with the exception of the C Line. A few more things for you. All facilities of the New York Public Library system open from 11 a.m. till 5 p.m. tomorrow. The Brooklyn Public Library system will be open from 10 a.m. until 5, staff permitting. A few other things. The state courts and federal courts will be closed. Jurors should not report to courts. City, public, and parochial schools below 14th Street in Manhattan will be closed. All other city and parochial schools have been delayed 2 hours. The opening will be delayed 2 hours for all other schools. The schools below 14th Street will be closed. And all businesses below 14th Street in Manhattan will remain closed. All CUNY colleges in Manhattan, except the Borough of Manhattan Community College, reopened. The Brooklyn Center of Long Island University reopened. Broadway shows, which were closed for 2 days, will resume. But before the curtain rise, the theaters plan to dim their marquee lights to honor the victims. Lincoln Center is going to be closed. Major League Baseball has postponed its entire schedule of 15 games. A lot of college football games have also been canceled. And Fashion Week, the garment industry's biggest twice-yearly event, has also been canceled. Now, as far as volunteers are concerned, the mayor's office says they do not need any more volunteers today or tonight. What they want viewers to do is listen to radio and television tomorrow to find out where and when more volunteers are going to be needed. Also, St. Vincent's is not in need of any doctors at the hospital right now or nurses. They prefer them to go to Chelsea Piers. The University of Medicine and Dentistry of New Jersey is offering free grief and crisis counseling. Services are going to be available at 15 sites throughout the state, and counselors are trained to help provide adults and children with care. The number there is 1-800-969-5300. That's 1-800-969-5300. The Mets are going to do some things here to try to help out the people who are involved in the rescue effort. The New York Mets are working in conjunction with New York City officials to collect and distribute essential items for the rescue workers in Manhattan. Rescue workers are in need of dry clothing and socks, sweatpants, t-shirts, sweatshirts, that sort of thing, and non-perishable foods that don't have to be refrigerated, and bottled water. So any items that people want to donate, they can take them to Shea Stadium, to the press gate, and those items will then be transported to rescue workers down in Manhattan. Dwayne Reed is also making special accommodations for people who live below 14th Street who may in fact have prescriptions that need to be filled but can't go to their stores there because they're closed. What they can do is bring the prescription bottle to any store in any borough or north of 14th Street, and they will fill those for folks. Now, we also have a number of we have a lot of other stuff that we'll be giving you a little bit later on. We want to go back now to Harry for more information from the set. Back to you, Harry.
Okay, Mike, thank you very much. What you're looking at right now, a live picture from Ground Zero. This is part of the rescue effort as workers are sifting through the rubble there. And when we say sifting, we actually mean that almost in the literal sense, because they are, don't forget, not only looking for survivors of this attack, but they are also trying to seek the black boxes of these two airplanes. And the black boxes are thought to be key pieces of information that's going to lead to some sort of conclusion to this investigation. Also in the studio with us tonight is Lou Coletti. He's with the Building and Trades Association, and some of those people that you see there in that live picture, Lou, are some of your folks, right?
Yeah, along with some of the equipment that we see. And I think what we have to keep in mind also is by bringing the equipment from other projects and getting them here, it's going to also have an impact on some of those other jobs that are being done. But this is the first priority.
This is top priority, yeah, absolutely. It's definitely going to slow down some other construction going on out there, but it's something that has to be done. How many numbers of people are we talking about here that you guys are bringing in?
I think by the time we get the entire process over, you'll have 100,000 members of the building trades. You'll have thousands of project managers and supervisors from construction companies. I mean, I can't tell you my phone has not stopped ringing. Please, I'll do anything. If you have enough people now, just here's my name, here's my address. I'm willing to give the best supervisors I have, the best engineers I have, the best architects, and we're just right now compiling that information because we're not yet at that stage.
And that's from all over the country.
Yeah, I mean, primarily New York, but we're taking calls from all over the country, but the New York construction community has really responded.
The outpouring of support after this is just absolutely incredible, from volunteers, from the search and rescue crews. I mean, there's reports of people coming from Seattle and Alabama, and, you know, part of what we're looking at right here. This is a live picture of Search and rescue going on right now. Thousands of people down there, men and women, risking their lives to sift through this rubble.
Well, you can see the coats down there. The black coats with the stripes are obviously firefighters who are down there. And the lights that are shining everything, that little flicker there, we just boosted our, what we call the DB, and that will give us a little bit better light there as to what we can actually see. The firefighters down there are the people with the horizontal yellow stripes. The other people down there are perhaps some of your folks, Lou, with the orange vests. And, you know, the one shot that I saw when we were on a bit wider shot was that huge piece of equipment there too. Just, you know, it's just picking off that steel girder ever so gingerly.
Well, I guess to keep in mind, I mean, we have a strong camaraderie with the police and fire departments, but in addition to that, there are construction workers that are buried there. We have a number of electricians, elevator operators, operating engineers that were doing work in the building at the time, and I think that's part of what motivates us also.
Okay, Lou, we're going to come back to you in just a second. Right now, we're going to go back down to Rosanna Scotto, and she is downtown for us, near Ground Zero. Rosanna.
Okay, we're outside Pace University where hundreds of police, fire, and rescue workers were gathered. They have just gotten the call. They can go back into the scene. What have you heard exactly?
We heard that the building is safe and that we can get back over there. And we're really in a hurry. We want to get back over there because our job is over there to help those people and try to get them out. So we got to go, but wish us luck, and please.
Of course you have our luck and our admiration. Come back safely, and hopefully you'll find somebody.
I'm sure we will. We're going to work very hard. We're going to try really hard to find everybody we can, and just pray for us.
Do you have the energy, the stamina to do this right now?
You got to find it. You got to do it. There's a lot of people underneath that building.
Some of the officers told me that you guys have been working all night long, but you only had like maybe a half hour of sleep. Is that true?
It's about 11 o'clock yesterday morning. Yeah. We went home for an hour, changed our clothes, and then came back.
Are you a little nervous to go back?
No.
Yeah, it's not really like you're not afraid to be there. You got to help somebody.
Now that it's darker, is it more difficult now?
There's plenty of lighting down there. They're really, the city's doing a phenomenal job. They really are. I mean, you just have to see it.
Do you think they're going to allow you back in the hole again, or do you think you're going to be on the outside?
Couldn't tell you. Couldn't tell you.
It's up to us. We're not going to have much of a choice. We're going back to the hole again.
I'm sorry, it's up to you?
If it's up to us, we're going right back to the hole again.
Really?
Yeah. I don't want to be out here directing traffic. It's,
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. We also have with us people who are doing some work on the outside area. What are you doing exactly around here?
Actually, we're just trying to reestablish communications for cell phones, Nextel communication. A lot of the emergency services use our phones in our service.
Fire department.
And so we're just trying to get that back up. We're trying to do our part. We're trying to make sure that the people who are using our phones and our services can get their job done.
And as you said, a lot of the emergency personnel are using it.
Yeah, so Nextel has, we're famous for the two-way features, which allows direct communications as well.
A lot of the cell phone services went out in the city when the World Trade Center went out.
Phones to the EMS, EMT, and the fire personnel that's on site. Their radio systems are down and whatnot. We're putting in emergency sites.
Regular civilians, you're not emergency personnel, but to see this, what?
We work with Nextel, and they hand out over hundreds and hundreds of phones to all emergency people.
But as a regular civilian, what is it like to see all of this? To see this?
Horrifying. Up to 3 months ago, we used to work at World Trade 110th floor with Motorola, and it's scary to see. A lot of our friends are dead now. I mean, I'm ex-military and stationed in Germany. I've seen some of this, and it's tragic. It's horrifying.
So where are you going to go next?
Actually, we're just going to make sure the site is up. We can provide communications. We're also, with their Marines are out here. I'm in the Marine Corps myself, and we're just trying to make.
Okay, it looks like we've lost Rosanna Scotto. Yeah, we have Lou Coletti here in the studio with us. Lou, when we were showing that video prior to going to Rosanna Scotto, it showed the work crews out there at Ground Zero going through the rubble down there. What I'm struck by is how dwarfed they are to the mound of rubble that they're having to deal with, and that is just one little mound compared to everything else that they're going to have to tackle.
Well, remember, when you look at the square footage of both World Trade Centers, that was 10 million square feet that came directly down.
Right.
And it's just piled up.
And they're saying 400,000 tons of debris.
Yeah.
400,000 tons. tons.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to this live shot right now. This is of Capitol Hill in the Rotunda, where they are conducting what appears to be a prayer vigil. Let's listen.
A great psalm of comfort and courage is the 46th Psalm. It gives us personal hope and reassures our nation that God is in charge. Hear God's word. God is our refuge and our strength, a very present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear. Even though the earth be removed, and though the mountains be carried into the midst of the sea, though its waters roar and be troubled, though the mountains shake with its swelling, there is a river whose streams make glad the city of God, the holy place of the tabernacle of the Most High. God is in the midst of her. She shall not be moved. God shall help her. The Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. He makes wars to cease to the ends of the earth. He breaks the bow and cuts the spear in two. He burns the chariot with fire. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted on the earth. The God of Jacob is our refuge. The Lord is with us. The word of the Lord. Amen.
You were listening to a prayer by the Reverend Lloyd Ogilvie.
What happened
He's the,
at the World Trade
chaplain
Center
of
and the
Congress.
Pentagon yesterday is unreal. It is shocking. It is unbelievable. But it did happen. We stand together tonight, not as Democrats or Republicans, but as citizens of the world, as Americans, as brothers and sisters with pain and with hurt. We are a circle of trust that cannot be broken. We are one people. We are one family. We are one nation. Tonight we pray for those who are not here to pray for themselves. Let us all bow our heads in prayer. Oh God, we come to thee tonight with heavy hearts. We need you now. We call on you because we know that you are a powerful and mighty God. We need you in this hour. We need your healing power. We ask tonight for you to look down on us. Please, God, look down on America. Look down on New York. Look down on Washington.
And we seem to have lost our our connection there with
That was,
a prayer vigil.
That was Representative John Lewis. He, of course, a well-known civil rights leader, worked with Dr. King back in the 60s.
And that was a prayer vigil going on at the Capitol Rotunda. Also speaking just before him was the Senate chaplain, Reverend Lloyd Ogilvie, and basically just relaying the feelings that most of us have in this country.
All throughout the evening, we have been getting in new pictures, new pieces of videotape, some of which we are sharing with you without editing them, although we do assure you that we preview these pieces of videotape to make sure that when you do look at the raw tape that there is nothing on there that is too graphic, something that may be too terribly disturbing, because over the next several days, over the next several weeks, we are sure that there will be some disturbing pictures coming out of there if the pictures that we've shown you aren't already disturbing enough. But my point is we do not put things on the air without first looking at them to make sure that everything that gets on the air is certainly suitable. Lou Coletti is with us. He's with the Building Trades Association. Lou, we appreciate your staying here. We keep talking to you about the many people down there, not only the construction workers, but the trades people and so forth who have answered the call to try to help.
We've told the city we're prepared at any time to do whatever we can to continue the tremendous efforts that they've initiated. This industry has really risen to the occasion, and we're prepared to support them in any way we can.
I'm sorry.
All right, Lou, thank you very much. We want to go to our news line right now. We have on the line Mona. Mona is an Arab American. Mona, thank you very much for joining us. I understand that there's a lot of fear in the Arab American community right now. That a lot of people are perhaps painting with a very broad brush that all of those who are members of that community, or at least some of that community, are terrorists. Are you finding that? Because we have had some reports in that has been happening not only in this country but worldwide since this attack.
Yes, there has been problems yesterday and today. There has been Muslim Arabic ladies that have been beat up. There has been kids, you know, they've been jumped, beat up, whatever. I mean, we're Muslims, true, but we have nothing to do with it. We're American citizens just like the others. And we feel very bad and we feel very depressed what happened in America. We've been here for so long. We don't, you know, our culture doesn't mean that we harm anybody, you know? And we don't know who did it, and whoever did it deserves to be punished badly because they had no right to do that, and we feel very bad. We want to go and help, you know, the people in Manhattan, but we're too scared to go because if they're doing this to us everywhere here, how can we go over there, you know? And we feel so bad. I mean, we don't know what to do, and it's getting to be very violent.
The fire still burning a mile away at the Pentagon. It made me feel sick and powerless, a feeling shared by many.
Earlier, and he said that if anything, this has made him more determined. We saw the flag draped over the Pentagon, and what is the sense that we're getting from the people who actually survived, the people that have, the victims that have been taken from the Pentagon tonight?
Well, those who were taken from the Pentagon tonight, those who are alive, have basically been talking about the horror of it all and the fact that it came without warning. The problem is here, at least, most officials believe that the vast majority of those people in the building when that hit, at least in that part of the building, will not come out alive.
Skip, obviously, it's very soon to start questioning security and things that on days like today when people are still mourning their victims. But is there any rumblings in Washington, a town notorious for rumblings, saying what could have happened either at Dulles Airport or at the Pentagon, which arguably has to be or should be one of the more secure buildings in the world?
Sure, that is a question that is being asked by virtually everybody in this city, politicians and non-politicians alike. After all, those of us who live in this city have a stake in all this. It's our security that's at stake as well. And the real question mark comes down to the way the buildings were put together to some extent and the way the city was put together. Things are so close to one another, literally, that from Dulles Airport to the Pentagon, you're talking about a flight that lasts 5, 6, 7 minutes at the most before it can be down there. If you're taking off from National Airport in Washington, literally 30 seconds from wheels up, you could be at the White House. That means things are vulnerable, and you're not going to change some of that.
Does it matter that it's Washington and therefore perhaps Many people in power are sitting there saying that could have been me, and perhaps they're going to make sure no matter what happens, the FBI is really going to get this one right, and they're going to commit all the resources that they have to. Does that make a difference?
Well, sure it does. In fact, the congressional leaders from both parties have already agreed to a $20 billion supplemental appropriations bill. That's to help New York rebuild, to help pay the bills here in Washington, to help the victims and their families, and to make things more secure here.
Okay, Skip, thank you for joining us. And right now we want to return to the prayer vigil that's been going on in Washington. Let's listen in.
Tonight, let us open our hearts so that Almighty God may dwell within us, so that our actions are His actions. And let us believe.
Senator Tom Daschle, the Democratic leader in the Senate,
joining us on the news line.
Okay, bye-bye.
We shows the zealotry of the
us to become timid and afraid. But the antithesis has happened. Instead, across the United States, patriotism is swelling. And so many young people and even veterans are calling to say, how can we help? You know, younger people are saying, I want to sign up to join the military. Older veterans are saying, what can I do to help? So, you know what? We're not afraid of you.
Well, Mayor Giuliani, of course, Governor Pataki, and President Bush have all said the same thing. This is when we pull together that this is a test, and we will win the test. We will beat this test. Also, what you're saying, we have been seeing it all day long from some of the comments of people who are saying, I can't believe this is happening on our soil. Right. What do they think they're doing? These were innocent people. There is anger, of course, but at the same time, it's being tempered with what you call the patriotism, the sense that this is our country, that we do not deserve this, and that we will rise above it.
And that we're going to fight back.
I think we're hearing that as well.
Yes.
We just have to be very careful how that's handled.
Of course. Mika Halpern is joining us again. He's a Middle East expert. Good to see you again. He's also a columnist for AOL. And as I said yesterday when you were with us, Mika lives in Jerusalem. He was visiting relatives here, and of course now you get an extended visit because it's going to be a while before you can, of course, travel back to Israel. We're glad to have you with us today. What can the U.S. do to be ever more vigilant? And more particularly, what can we as citizens do? Because we now have to be very vigilant.
Exactly. I think that United States citizens have to open their eyes. They have to realize that the security services are out there doing their job.
Name Thomas Ashton, A-S-H-T-O-N.
And can you tell us a little bit about Thomas?
Sure. He is...
There's always hope, but we also have to face
found 2 Port Authority workers were trapped. We got 1 out alive about 1 o'clock.
And it didn't hit whatever target they were going for.
They help us grow this company.
Any more regulators? Got any more regulators? Non-rebreathers? I know 2 tanks.
The damage is incalculable.
But, you know, one human life is worth more than all that damage.
We are getting the latest information now on when the flights may resume out at Metro Airport. Let's check in with Karen Drew. Karen, kind of a strange message here. The airport's getting back to normal, but no flights yet.
That's very true.
Focus on a certain kind of terrorism, chemical, biological, nuclear, and so on, and then we get something like this.
Have been eager to help, uncertain how. If you can bring some of those personal items to West Street, I'm sure that they'd be most appreciated by someone.
Have worked now better than 30 solid hours. They'll be replaced by the National Guard. The area which is cordoned off in Lower Manhattan, it is believed, will be shrunk down. And as the days progress, much more of this city will return to business as usual. In Washington, the early death toll was believed to be around 800 for the Pentagon. Now it's believed that that could be more like 100 or 150. They put listening devices inside the Pentagon. They have no reason to believe anyone who is left inside is still breathing. We'll have live, continuous Team Fox coverage throughout the night. The Bill O'Reilly Factor is coming up next. Bill is live in Manhattan this evening.
Of the United States are at work, and as you've heard in the course of the last hour and you've heard today, there has been some progress made in identifying the terrorists on board the aircraft and perhaps at least getting for questioning people who...
8 o'clock, and we want to remind you that you are...
New Yorkers and America, we're going to rebuild. We're going to be stronger than...
There's a life in there that can be saved. I'm Shepard Smith in New York. The O'Reilly Factor begins now.
Hi, I'm Bill O'Reilly. Thanks for watching us tonight as we continue.
Being distributed down here by family members, hoping that someone will know something about their missing loved ones. We're not.
Estella will find out if its age adds to its value. Plus, these two sapphire rings look...
We've got a great idea for outlining the fort with 2x8.
How's everybody doing tonight? It's gonna be a big one, Hilda. I can feel it. Hey, for those of you just joining us, you know, doing that channel thing, I hate when they do that.
Temper became legendary.
No, it's...
I'm gonna take...
On the terrorists' target list, which can only increase George Bush's determination to hit back hard.
This enemy hides in shadows and has no regard for human life. This is an enemy who preys on innocent and unsuspecting people, then runs for cover. But it won't be able to run for cover forever. This is an enemy that tries to hide, but it won't be able to hide forever. This is an enemy that thinks its harbors are safe, but they won't be safe forever. This enemy attacked not just our people, but all freedom-loving people everywhere in the world.
The challenge to the United States could hardly be greater, and George Bush is looking to his allies for support. The Pentagon in Washington was devastated by the third plane to hit. America's military headquarters is still being searched for traces of hundreds more civilian and service personnel who are missing.
So let's go find him. Come on.
Amid all this dreadful uncertainty, in New York today, Brenda Schonholt set out with her daughters to look for her husband. He worked in the World Trade Center. She's heard no news of him since the attack.
We're asking everyone to move back.
Now, the people that were evacuated from the World Trade Center, where would they be right now?
Unfortunately, they are all over.
Officer, they're looking for their father who was in the building.
I understand. Unfortunately, my wife is in the building, and I still haven't heard from my wife.
But with mobile phones finally working again, they heard of a sighting and then a reunion. Amid all the carnage and despair, at least a little space for happiness. And in Washington, still reeling from the onslaught, the members of the United States Congress regrouped after fleeing the Capitol yesterday.
God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless.
They sang in anger, sorrow, and defiance as America sends the strongest possible signal it means to fight back. The next days and weeks take the United States and the wider world into uncharted territory. James Robbins, BBC News.
Well, in the past hour, President Bush has been visiting the Pentagon building in Washington, part of which was badly damaged in Tuesday's attacks. He shook hands with rescue workers, saying he was overwhelmed at the devastation.
I am so grateful for the people who are working here. We're here to say thanks to not only the workers on this site, but the workers who are doing the same work in New York City. I want to say thanks to the folks who have given blood to the Red Cross. I want to say thanks for the hundreds and thousands of Americans who pray for the victims and their families. Secretary Rumsfeld told me when I talked to him that he felt the blast shake the Pentagon. Even though he was on the other side of the building rocked. And now I know why. Coming here makes me sad on the one hand. It also makes me angry. And our country will, however, not be cowed by terrorists, by people who don't share the same values we share, by people who are willing to destroy people's lives because we embrace freedom.
As the people of New York and Washington struggle to cope with the devastation, stories are beginning to emerge of the bravery of those caught in yesterday's attacks. In particular, tributes are being paid to the firefighters and rescue services in New York, many of whom lost their lives trying to save others.
With dawn, some measure of the damage. Fine silt and twisted metal, all that remains of the twin towers of the World Trade Center, the workplace of 50,000 people, until 9 o'clock on Tuesday morning. No one knows how many actually died, only that hundreds perished because they went to rescue the injured and got caught in the aftermath. This is Engine Company 30, where every fireman died. Another team of fire crews is moving in to take the place of their dead comrades.
People are feeling like they lost their family, because everybody knows somebody that's been here, been at the fire and died. Brothers, friends, relatives, and it's the worst day the fire department has ever had.
Why are people moving here? Why has this fire department moved here particularly?
Because the companies that are here lost all their members in the engine and truck company.
And a city fearing the worst, a hushed New York with little moving apart from ambulances and police, and increasingly the occasional hearse. Doctors have not been working flat out, simply because the injured remained where they died. But a city queues to give blood. Blood donation centers have been crowded. Lines of determined people, angry people.
And I'm here because I love freedom and humanity. So help me, just like Pearl Harbor, there will be no compromise. This will not ever happen again.
Amid the unfolding personal tragedies, people here also feel outrage at an attack on a city they love. In that gap was the very symbol of New York, those two twin towers that were on T-shirts, the logo of this city, now not there, just a gap. Stephen Evans, BBC News, New York.
As more bodies are recovered from the rubble, grief is quickly turning to anger in the United States. There's a strong belief that the attacks may have been planned by a group from the Arab world, and the effects are already being felt on America's streets. Hussein Ibish is from the American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee in Washington.
And I got involved very, very much, and I enjoyed those years.
The Trumps would have 3 children, Donald Jr., Ivanka, and Eric. And for
consultations to consumers seeking to eliminate their debt.
ID this Ray Malcolm.
Neighborhood Snoop across the street.
Families are to survive. They must...
Briefs reporters.
The Secretary of Defense remains at the Pentagon, and the Secretary of State is en route back to Washington.
At 5:21, as people around the country struggle to absorb what's happened, a third building at the World Trade Center, damaged by the attacks, collapses. The 47-story building had been evacuated. But once again, the concrete canyons of lower Manhattan fill with the sounds of sirens and the sight of people fleeing for their lives. The world was watching and responding.
Terrorists bring war.
World leaders reacted swiftly.
This mass terrorism is the new evil in our world today. It is perpetrated by fanatics who are utterly indifferent to the sanctity of human life.
UN Secretary General Kofi Annan.
We are all traumatized by this terrible tragedy.
Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat condemns the attack, calling it a terrible act. In the streets of the Arab world, extremists celebrate. Last night, Air Force One, escorted by 2 fighter jets, returns President Bush to Washington, where he brands the attacks evil and despicable, vowing that America will win the war against terrorism. The #1 suspect, Osama bin Laden, a radical Islamic terrorist linked to past attacks on American interests. Mr. Bush makes a thinly veiled threat of reprisal against bin Laden's backers in Afghanistan, where he is based.
We will make no distinction between the terrorists who committed these acts and those who harbor them.
A newspaper in Pakistan says it's received a message from Osama bin Laden saying he was not involved. The Taliban-ruled government of Afghanistan condemns the attacks. As to bin Laden's suspected role, Senator Orrin Hatch tells the Associated Press that the U.S. intercepted communications between bin Laden supporters discussing targets that were hit, and that at least one of the suspected hijackers had known ties to the terrorists. But the 2 hijacked planes that toppled the World Trade Center both originated in Boston, where this morning the Boston Herald reports that authorities have identified at least 5 Arab men as suspects, one of them a trained pilot, and that a car filled with Arabic language flight training manuals was found at Logan Airport's central parking garage. Today, one day after the deadliest terrorist attack on American soil, a nation has learned a terrible lesson. Things will never be the same again. America is vulnerable, and the unthinkable does happen.
Next, stories of terror told by the people who lived them.
Was there a time when you thought you were going to die?
Oh, definitely. 3 or 4 occasions.
If I went back up, I would have been dead. And if I didn't leave the minute that I left, I would be dead.
Plus, reaching the survivors, tales of heroism and hope.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thanks for all your help.
Good job.
now.
Yes. Yes, we can.
We know how you feel, and that's why we're here. Circuit City. We're with you.
Yeah, just put that anywhere.
Point. Shoot. Create. The HP Pavilion 7970 with the Intel Pentium 4 processor. How will you use it? Save up to $250 by mail on the HP Digital Photography Studio.
More. That's what you get with Verizon Wireless. And right now, you get 3,000 more night and weekend home airtime minutes. Free every month for life. And there's more. Now get a free AudioVox 135 phone after mail-in rebate. Plus, you can find it all in more places. A Verizon Wireless communication store. The Verizon Wireless Center at Radio Shack. Or call 1-800-2-JOIN-IN. So hurry in for 3,000 more free minutes for life. And a free phone. Only from Verizon Wireless. Join in.
What can you get from a TV show? Well, weekdays on the Discovery Channel. Practical skills, personal growth, fresh perspective.
Doesn't that look terrific?
Artistic vision, self-expression.
What a difference.
Possibility.
I can't believe
Elegance. Individual style. Inspiration. Information. Transformation.
You can do it.
Discover what you can do on an all-new season of The Christopher Lowell Show. Weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern and Pacific on the Discovery Channel.
Attention viewers, time is running out on the most incredible weight loss offer ever. There's only an extremely limited time left to try Premier Diet ZX's 2 weight-busting formulas free before they go on sale at your local retailer. Like Metabolife 356 and Xanadrine, Premier Diet ZX's AM and PM formulas work thermogenically with your body to speed up your metabolism and help you shed pounds and inches fast and easy.
I lost 12 inches in 4 months, and I ate whatever I wanted.
I lost 125 pounds in 4 months.
And it's free.
And if you call or log on to Vitafree.com right now, Premier Diet ZX is giving away a full 4-month supply of both the AM and PM formulas. That's over a whopping $172 plus value, free, just for calling right now. Don't miss out. Call the toll-free number on the screen right now and receive your full 4-month supply of Premier Diet ZX AM and PM free. Call now before this offer is history. Dial the toll-free number below or log on to Vitafree.com.
Attack on America. A Deadline Discovery special continues. Here again, Hoda Kotb.
A stunned nation witnessed the traumatic events as they unfolded on TV. Fear and outrage sweeping the country. But nothing compares to being there in the midst of the chaos. Don Fratangelo with firsthand accounts of eyewitnesses and survivors.
On any given day, New York is a city with its own sounds, with its own rhythm. You could feel a collective shudder as it all came crashing down. And the voices of those at Ground Zero are still shaking. Fathers.
All of a sudden, we felt the second one go.
Mothers.
We all heard this just really loud explosion.
Daughters.
A huge explosion and a shudder.
Tom Lochtefeld, at work at a trading firm on the 80th floor of World Trade Tower 2 when the first plane hit.
All you could see were papers and smoke just flying through and around the plaza. And we looked up about maybe 10 or 15 floors up, and the whole wall was blown out, and it was filled with flames. And everybody was just like in awe. We had no idea what it could be. And suddenly our 2 managers in the office, they came screaming in with an urgency that I've never, ever heard before in anybody's voice saying, "Get out, get out, get out, get out." We had gotten down to about the 50th floor from the 80th floor, and there was a PA announcement, and they kept saying, there's a fire in World Trade number 1. The firemen are attending to it. World Trade Center is secure. You may return to your offices. Repeatedly, repeatedly. And everybody just stood in sort of disbelief.
Tom didn't go back. It was far from secure. Just minutes later, the second crash right into his office.
If I went back up, I would have been dead. And if I didn't leave the minute that I left, I would be dead. And God bless the people who were on the 110th floor, because if I was down at the 50th, they were down at the 80th.
It took 15 minutes to get out, but once there,
People had left their shoes to get away. I mean, there were piles of blood in the street of people who had gotten hit by shrapnel from the buildings.
Your wife, you know, she said to me that she thought she was a widow.
Kim White was stuck on the 74th floor of Tower 1.
The doors were locked.
Why?
I have no clue. We sat around for about 5, almost 10 minutes trying to find a door or get somebody with a key to come open the doors so we can get downstairs. If we had those precious 5 to 10 minutes, would have made that much of a difference.
A difference because she barely managed to escape as the building was collapsing.
Glass just flying all over the place, and we're not knowing which way to go because we didn't know which way the building fell. Once it hit ground, all you saw was blackness. I'm sitting here saying to myself, breathe properly, Kim, breathe properly, because you don't want to take in too much because you're going to collapse, and no one's going to be able to find you because there's nothing but blackness.
And breathing wasn't easy, not just because of the debris. To make things worse, Kim suffers from asthma and suffered an attack.
Was there a time today when you thought you were going to die?
Oh, definitely. On 3 or 4 occasions. The initial explosion, going out to the reception area, seeing that ceiling collapsed, being stuck in a stairwell and not being able to get in. We couldn't go back up, we couldn't go down. My life didn't flash before my eyes. I was just trying to get down far enough where, you know, I would be safe.
And to the safest place and person.
I just want to see my mother, that's all. I'll probably be 32 years old, sleep with my mom tonight.
Someone else's mother, Maggie Cusack, was also battling her way down from the 82nd floor of Tower 1.
The building just shook, and you could see the stuff kind of flying down. You know, it was big. I mean, you could tell it was a large event. I believe all of my coworkers got at least out into the stairwells. I guess it was about the 27th floor. The firemen started coming up into the building. And I just felt that they were very brave, and, you know, we were kind of clapping for them and wishing them luck on their way in.
Are you thinking of the firemen because you fear that they were perhaps trapped in the building when it collapsed?
I think they probably were. I think there were a lot of them that did get trapped in there, and I think that's very sad. They were all nice, young, healthy, good-looking guys, and I'm just really grateful that I got out before the buildings collapsed.
A few moments ago, we saw you when you were reunited with your sister. What blew your mind?
Just very nice to have family here.
Producer Christian Martin saw the smoke from his home and rushed to the scene. With a journalist's instinct and ingenuity, he bought a camera from a tourist and started shooting.
And the collapse happened 10 minutes after I got the camera. I shot a couple of shots of the building burning. As I said, it was, you know, it had the feeling that, as terrible of a tragedy as it was, that it was beginning to get under control.
But control was about to be lost.
And then, you know, the cop was like, run, run, to save my life, and took off on a dead sprint. I mean, as fast as I can go.
One of the towers was collapsing as he looked through his lens. Then, a wall of swirling debris came racing right at him.
I was thinking about getting around the corner. I was thinking about getting out of the way of that cloud. And then, you know, I got blown into the car, and it was pitch black, and, I mean, you just cannot overemphasize how many completely innocent, beautiful people were just, you know, destroyed by this.
And in a city that doesn't often display it, compassion was abundant. In New York, a chorus of voices, unassuming people, attacked, anxious, and angry.
We've got to figure out a way to get along a lot better than this. You know, this is an unacceptable reality.
I don't know what's going on with airport security. I think about the mothers who've lost their children who've lost their mothers.
You know how when you go out on a flight and you're always complaining because you got to be there 2 hours in advance? Well, don't complain anymore because people died today because of it.
When you bring it down to the very basic, Tom, you were a victim of terrorism today.
Yes, I was. I am mad. I am very, very mad. Because this is not my war. And, you know, keep your war over there. Don't bring it here.
Coming up, searching for miracles amidst the mayhem, the massive operation to find survivors before hope fades.
Introducing the amazing OWL Optical Wallet Light, the world's thinnest high-power magnifying light that fits in your wallet's credit card holder, so it's always with you when you need it. No more awkward reading glasses or playing trombone with your arms. Just slip out the OWL and use its powerful magnifying light to read menus, checks and credit card slips, labels when you're shopping, cash register receipts, road maps, phone...
Now, just kind of mash the lemons like that.
In stores and is available only through this special...
If you guessed $1,200, you are correct. The pitcher is in good condition, and the decorative...
To order, call 1...
Around by jumping up and down, getting a pitcher to throw over. Ball is down the right field corner in Ebbets Field. He goes to third base. Then he steals home.
Screen on him, and as he said, we were setting moving screens. He said they were illegal, and the coaches weren't calling. He said, if you keep doing
And that's a beautiful, beautiful look. Isn't that nice? The class showing right over here to the side.
Computer system or on its own for only $159. I'm going to put it on the flatbed scanner.
In 3 hours of the tragedy to say just that. Tonight, Joe Albaugh is here, the head of FEMA. He will spend several days here. They will bring grief counselors. They will bring teams to help with rescue, generators, and other things that we need. And so we will rise and fight again. We will share the grief with the so many, and then we will move forward together, united, because nothing like this kind of terrible, awful, and nasty action can unite us. Nothing can unite us like this, and we're going to stay united till we get the job done.
Well, I want to thank the mayor and the extraordinary team that has come together to organize the response to this attack. And I want to thank the governor for everything that the state is doing and will do. And I particularly want to, on this occasion, thank the federal government as represented here by the director of FEMA. We just had a very thorough briefing. I took a lot of notes about what is needed, the status of the various efforts that are going on. And I would just reiterate that we've responded in an exemplary fashion. I don't think there is any place on earth that could have or would have responded so well. But this is a long-term commitment that we have to make to the people who have been directly affected, the loss of life, the injury, the family members, and to rebuilding and reconstructing, to making it absolutely clear that every business that ever had any operation in the buildings that are no longer there will find a place in New York City, to open up and keep going into the future, to build it together. And none of this would have been possible without the heroic efforts of so many men and women who responded to this tragedy. And, you know, we've talked a lot about what we need to do here in New York and how well New Yorkers are responding. But this was an attack on America, and all Americans are responding on behalf of New York as well. And I am confident that America will stand with us every step of the way, provide every resource we need, not only in the immediate time frame, but for months and years to come, because this was an attack on New York, the global city, and it was an attack on American values, and we will show those who plotted this and carried it out that there isn't any stopping us, and that we will keep going, and that's the greatest rebuke that we personally can deliver to them while we seek them out and inflict whatever punishment and retaliation is deserved.
Charlie.
Nobody really knows how strong or weak we are until you hit with a tragedy as we were. And as New Yorkers, we are being asked to go through a test to show the entire world how strong we can be. And with the Congress and the American people supporting us, and with the leadership that's been demonstrated by our mayor and our governor, and we have to do more than just to please our constituents, that we're doing everything that we can. We have to make certain that we remain that symbol of democracy for people throughout the world by sticking together and remembering that in every war we have fallen heroes and they leave behind a family. So it's not just the dollars that we're talking about. It's the commitment that we have to do all that we can to let the families and the friends know that these were the heroes. They didn't die for Manhattan or New York City. They did it for their country. They did it for the free world. And it's times like this that we have to thank God that we've had the leadership, we've had the will, and we know that we will overcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Squeeze through here. One of us has got to lose some weight. Sorry. Governor, Mayor, Senators, and members of the New York Congressional Delegation, I am humbled to represent the President of the United States tonight and represent all that is good about our country, bringing the resources that are necessary to New York City. This afternoon, after I flew in with both senators, we toured downtown. I was stunned at the devastation. But more importantly, I was impressed with the resilience of the spirit of New Yorkers I saw on the street. And that is what will get us through these trying times. Our agency, FEMA, will be here as long as necessary, shoulder to shoulder, making sure that everything New York City needs, New York City will get.
This is an amazing period in our life. I think it is appropriate that all Americans across the country take a moment, say a silent prayer for those who lost their life. Take a moment, say a silent prayer for those who are putting their lives on the line right now in the recovery effort. We are a strong country. We will get through this. After all, this is America.
The governor mentioned the family center, and I know that many people obviously have a lot of very difficult questions about their loved ones. It's open now. Actually, it has been open, but it'll start functioning for people at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. The phone number is 212-889-6652. That's 212-889-6652. And the center will be manned from 8 in the morning until midnight, and if we have to stay open longer, we will. I have to say that we don't have anywhere near all the information that people are seeking. We so far have recovered 82 bodies. We have participated in rescue efforts for five people. We have that information, but beyond that, we're going to have to keep searching and looking. But if people come to the center and they're seeking loved ones, we can work with them, we can get the information we need, and we can facilitate, hopefully, finding their loved ones.
How many of those 5 were found today?
Well, that's all together. That's in 2 days. Yes.
Mr. Mayor, are you afraid that some of the bodies may have been burned up in the fires that hit the World Trade Center after the plane?
I think we should face these things as we have to deal with them. I don't know the answer to that.
The governor said 2,400 families have already come to the center. Is that correct?
That's correct. Over yesterday and today, we were operating the center at Bellevue and at the Administration for Children's Services, but the numbers became so large that we needed a much bigger space, and the governor and the state have given us the armory to use. We literally, if we're going to service 2,000 or 3,000 or 4,000 people, we need a much bigger space than is available at NYU and at Bellevue.
Mayor, can you talk about what happened this afternoon with 5 World Trade and what the air quality is like down there at this time?
The air quality, as far as we can tell, is Neil here? Neil Cohen, the Commissioner of Health. We're doing constant tests. The air quality is not dangerous. The asbestos in the air, as long as you're not in the epicenter of the recovery, is not at dangerous levels. The reason that everybody is wearing masks, which I know people see it on television, and they think there must be a chemical agent or a biological agent, or the reason they're wearing the mask is if you expose your eyes and you inhale too much of the dust, it's going to irritate you, and that can become very serious. So the rescue workers wear the mask, and they're actually supposed to wear goggles as well.
In terms of the buildings themselves and what happened in 5 World Trade, can you talk about that?
Can you help us understand? There's a great deal of confusion as to which other building was impacted by the 5 World Trade Center finally falling. If you could help us understand that, I'd appreciate it.
Well, we expected it to fall. We had been working on it, trying to pick it apart, get as much of the fire out and the debris removed as we could, and it did collapse. There was some question whether or not the building 1, Richie, was it 1? Liberty? One Liberty Plaza. Because there's some confusion about that address. Had some structural damage. It did not collapse. It was not a secondary collapse. We've sent people there to assess that structural damage.
You also heard about a secondary collapse at the South Tower and also possibly the gas leak?
Well, we've had ruptured gas lines all along. When we get them, we try to put them out wherever we can. We try to shut down every main that we could. We're not able to get access to all of the mains.
There was talk about the Millennium Hotel at 55 Church Street. If you could walk through each of the buildings that actually have sustained structural damage or have...
We'll be able to give you a better report tomorrow. We have structural engineers. It's taking us a while to make all those assessments. We'll have better information tomorrow.
Today, the only two buildings which are completely collapsed was the remains of the South Tower at World Trade Center and World Trade Center building number 5. Is that correct?
Right.
Those are the only two ones.
Yes.
Commissioner, can you tell us the status of Battery Park? We've gotten a number of calls today from people who have lived there. They're not staying there now. They wonder when they can come back, what the status is. Are the buildings stable?
Well, the incident commander has made that judgment as we went along. Some they thought were okay. There might be people in others that might have a problem that they have trouble breathing, air that might not bother other people. So we're going back in there. We're going to talk to all the people. We're going to assess the buildings. If we have to move everybody out of the other building, we will. We hope we don't.
Is there any sense that any of those buildings, those apartment buildings, may have suffered some instability because of the crash?
We don't think so, but we are assessing all of the buildings in the area.
What happened to One Liberty Plaza?
I can only tell you that there was a report of a crack, and we were checking it out.
Did you collapse at all?
No.
Mr. Mayor, can you tell us why you invited the mayoral candidates to be here tonight?
So that they would get a briefing on what's going on. They obviously have a great interest in the city, otherwise they wouldn't be doing the very difficult task of running for mayor. They can be very helpful. They have a lot of ideas and a lot of thoughts on how we can reach out to people, and we'll continue to be in contact with them. The thing that I emphasized to everyone here, and they also emphasized to me, is we have to work together. We all have different resources and different things that we can bring to this. If we all work together, the city is going to get through this. The people of the city are going to get through it. And the city of New York is going to demonstrate that a free democratic society can absorb this kind of blow and become stronger by it. And we're going to foil the desires of these cowards who attacked us. And we need all the help we can get. And every single one of the people that you see here, the public officials and those seeking public office, care about the city of New York. They love the city of New York, and they can be of help to us. Thank you.
Mayor, I understand that New York made a request for FEMA for 6,000 body bags. Is that correct?
I believe that is correct, yes.
Is the city going to remain under a state of emergency at this point?
Yes.
And how about people south of Port Tucson?
Well, but state of emergency is a technical legal term. But I mean, obviously, this is as big an emergency as any city's ever faced. 14th Street South is closed. It'll be closed tomorrow. It was very helpful to have it closed today because we moved out, I think, 3,000 tons of debris today, which, if we can do anything like that tomorrow, will give us a real head start in the cleanup. And we needed those streets open because we have to move a lot of heavy equipment and trucks, and we still have the hope that we're going to be able to save people. So sometimes we need that extra time to get the ambulance right to St. Vincent's Hospital or Bellevue or Beekman. So we decided to make the decision to close 14th Street South. And so that's a state of emergency.
Are the securities markets going to be open tomorrow?
No, we worked with the stock exchange. They made the determination that they didn't think they were really ready, given the communications and other things that they would have to deal with. And
is there any tapping still going on, or cell phone calls, any sort of tangible evidence of somebody who still may be down there, or that would provide some hope that somebody survives?
We've had information like that all throughout the day. Sometimes it's worked out and we've been able to find a person, and sometimes it hasn't. But I don't know of any current information like that. Well, that's why it's so valuable to have this support from FEMA, from the president, from the state and the governor. The men and women who are doing this rescue effort are very dedicated and they're terrific, but they're going to need reinforcements. And
last question, Melissa.
Mr. Mayor, were any additional people injured in the subsequent collapse?
I don't. At first, they thought that 4 people were injured, but so far those reports have not turned out to be correct. People were almost injured. They had to run away, and they just escaped serious injury. But no one, as far as I know, was seriously injured.
The conditions are still...
The conditions are, look, this is a very dangerous rescue effort. There shouldn't, it's going to continue to be a dangerous rescue effort for some time. The men and women who are doing this, when you see them doing it, they are literally putting their lives at risk to try to find people and save them, or to find their remains. So when you see them operating and working, realize how dedicated they are. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, just one more if we could.
Mayor Giuliani concluding a news conference here with the governor of the state of New York, with 2 United States senators from New York, Senator Chuck Schumer, Senator Hillary Clinton, with Congressman Charlie Rangel. You have 2 Republicans, you have 3 Democrats, plus a representative of the administration, the Republican administration, Joe Alba, who was the head of FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, all showing the unity that has transpired, cutting across political lines to help New York in this time of difficulty. We will now rejoin NBC News and Tom Brokaw with continuing coverage of this attack on America. I'm Chuck Scarborough.
On most evenings until yesterday morning, that was one of the most stunning sights in any urban landscape anywhere in the world. Now, it is, of course, a scene of utter devastation. It is racing against hope that we can find any more survivors in there. There may be as many as 10, 15, 20,000 people who went down with those two towers when they collapsed after they had been hit by the plane. And we're told by people who have been down there, state officials and other reporters, that
on the structural status of the area that was so devastated.
hundreds of thousands of tons of rubble, and that's all been packed together, so there's very little hope that there can be much airspace in any of that wreckage. As we have been telling you for 2 days now, much of the investigation into the attacks is focusing on Osama bin Laden, a terrorist leader who has been monitored for years, and yet he remains a confounding and deeply enigmatic figure to so many, cold-blooded and calculating. With more on the mind of bin Laden, here's Dateline's Jane Pauley tonight. Jane?
Well, thanks, Tom. The one thing you may think you know for sure about the hideous atrocities wreaked upon this country yesterday is that it had to have been the work of madmen. Who else could conceive of a plot to kill so many innocent people, or to execute that plan by deliberately immolating yourself along with them in the fiery crash? But it could be a big mistake to underestimate the likes of such men as Osama bin Laden.
I don't think he's crazy. He is devious, he is clever, he is relentless, and he is patient.
But he is not a madman.
But he is not a madman.
Judith Miller is a reporter for the New York Times. She's covered the Arab world since 1983, when she was chief of the Times Cairo bureau. Is calling this even fanaticism too simplistic?
Fanatic is actually a very good word to describe them. They are highly motivated, they are highly disciplined, and we underestimate them at our peril.
Understanding them is critical, too. What would motivate a young man, average age of a suicide bomber is 22, to sacrifice his life as an unknown number did yesterday?
I think despair is partly responsible for this wave of suicide bombings.
Because they have nowhere else.
Because they have nowhere else to go. I mean, I have interviewed so many of these young people with so much hope for the future and so few prospects.
Especially the educated ones.
Especially the educated ones.
Dr. Gerald Post is a professor of political psychology at George Washington University. He's also a psychiatrist.
These people are distinctly not psychologically disturbed. In fact, interestingly, psychiatrically disturbed individuals are expelled from the groups because they're considered a security risk.
Many say it's a perversion of Islam, that the Quran condemns suicide. But radical Islamic sects do not call it suicide. In their interpretation, not to act is immoral.
The motivation for these acts is both religious and social. And the social motivation is a fusion of nationalism and radical Islam.
What did America do to unleash this hell upon us?
Well, according to Osama bin Laden, we defiled sacred Saudi and Islamic soil.
When?
In 1990 and 91, when we sent American and international troops to defend his country against Iraqi soldiers.
Just as the Soviets had defiled Islamic soil in Afghanistan in 1979. Financed in part by his money, the Mujahideen then drove the Soviets out.
He needed an enemy. But he needed an enemy precisely, and he also had an enemy because the Palestinian people were being, quote, oppressed, and it was the duty of all Muslims to come and rescue them, and the Arab countries were being, quote, oppressed by autocratic, horrible rulers whose rule he also wanted to terminate, and he felt that by mobilizing and training Arabs all over the world and Muslims from all over the world, he could accomplish this.
Bin Laden and other radical factions of Islam frighten many in the Arab world too. They may not represent mainstream Muslims, but they are determined and well-financed. But Judith Miller argues that to persist in seeing them as crazy fanatics is dangerous.
We have to get rid of this image of these people as kind of wild-eyed fanatics who are disorganized and can't get their act together.
Why do we have to?
I think if we don't discard these images and stereotypes, we will underestimate the enemy.
What is it about the American psyche that may be undermining our own interests?
I think sometimes any democracy is ill-equipped because we are open. That is our trademark. We are ill-equipped to fight people who are looking constantly for our weaknesses, for our vulnerabilities, for ways in which we can be hurt.
And joining us now from Washington is former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright. Madam Secretary, the Clinton administration was so successful in arranging peace for Bosnia and executing an air war against Kosovo, but does it now seem clear to you that you greatly underestimated the threat of terrorism in this country, particularly Osama bin Laden?
I don't think we underestimated it, Tom. I think we understood the difficulty of it. We were clearly under threat. I had a lot of wonderful days as Secretary of State, but my worst day was when those embassies went down in Kenya and Tanzania. We worked to deal with it as best we could, and I think that what it will require is incredible determination now to deal with the issue beyond what we were able to do internationally. And I must say that I'm very supportive of what President Bush and Secretary Powell are doing in getting support for international action.
But should you have begun that international action at that time? There were two retaliatory strikes, one in Sudan, one in the subcontinent. Some question about the appropriateness of the target in the Sudan.
Well, first of all, I think that we did everything that we could. I believe we did the right thing in the target in Sudan. And this is a very different proposition. America itself has been attacked on our own soil, and it is unfortunate that it takes this kind of a horrific act to get people mobilized. I have no question that we did what we could, and we need to support this administration now in doing what it can. And the determination that Judith Miller talks about that the terrorists have, we have to have the same determination. And I have very much been following and read your book and everything that has been talked about in terms of the generation that saved us from the scourge of the evil of World War II. And we now have to exhibit the same bravery that those people did.
Madam Secretary, I do think that it's fair to say that there was not much political will in either party during the Clinton administration to commit the resources that were going to be required, diplomatic, militarily, and economic, to fight terrorism. But let's now try to go forward from here if we can. What are the greatest challenges to the administration in building this international coalition of allies? Are they the moderate Arab states?
Well, I think that clearly there is a question how they will behave. And I think that they are in a difficult position since there are extremists within their ranks and that they are concerned about. But they have to understand that they are just as much threatened by terrorism as the rest of us are. And I think, as Senator Biden said, it is important now for countries to make clear where they stand. We are all threatened by this, and I think we have to be very careful not to just decide that all Arab countries or Islam is responsible for this. This is a group of determined extremists who have their own agenda.
There was such a great deterioration of the situation in Israel before all of this happened. Is there any hope whatsoever for the peace process there now?
Well, ultimately, it is the only way that we're going to be able to deal with this. And I am so regretful that we were not able to bring that peace process to a useful conclusion during our time. I think that we cannot live in a world where this kind of terrorism is possible and where we don't continue to have hope in peace. This has been a terrible day where we have really all had to and willingly identify with the victims and their families. And America has to stand tall. We have to remain calm. We have to be determined, and we have to bring allies and friends along. But ultimately, this is our responsibility. America was hit.
Thank you so much, former Secretary of State Madeleine Albright. Thanks for joining us tonight, Madam Secretary.
Thank you.
And joining us now is NBC's Campbell Brown. She's at the White House. She has more on the options that are being considered there. But Campbell, it's pretty clear tonight that President George Bush the 43rd is using the model of President George Bush the 41st in building a strong international coalition before any military options are executed.
Absolutely, Tom. They're being very careful not to talk about specific retaliatory options, but we are seeing a strategy emerge from these national security meetings the president is having. And what national security sources say is that's really their only option right now in terms of immediate action they can take to focus on trying to build support in the international community for whatever course of action the president chooses. The president today, we heard that in his remarks, as he defined this as really an attack on the world. And White House officials have been quick to point out the constant contact he's been having with world leaders. He spoke twice today with Russian President Putin, speaking with President Zhang. He's been in close contact with British Prime Minister Tony Blair and Canadian Prime Minister Chrétien. But what's interesting, Tom, based on the information we've been given about who the president's in contact with, he has not reached out directly yet to leaders in the Arab world. And we have heard him make some not-so-veiled threats to countries who may be harboring these terrorists, but we're also seeing a recognition from the White House that there is only so much that they can do unilaterally, that there really does have to be support from the rest of the world. Tom?
And Campbell Brown, what about the president's agenda in the short term? He's got some major foreign policy meetings that are coming up both in Washington and international economic meeting, and then he's going to be on the road come October.
You're right, and there have been a lot of questions raised about how this affects the president's schedule. He has a huge trip to Asia planned for the end of October. Will he still go on that trip? Well, for right now, what the White House is telling us is that his immediate schedule, given the crisis situation, is on hold, that this is really his top priority, and a few domestic trips have been canceled. But as of right now, he is still planning to go to New York for when the UN General Assembly opens. He also wants to make a trip to New York to the site to visit with rescue and recovery workers there. And for now, they are saying that at least nothing is canceled as of yet. They're going to wait and see how this plays out.
All right, thanks very much, NBC's Campbell Brown. It's an image that will be impossible for any of us to forget for a long, long time, if ever. New Yorkers rushing out of flaming buildings as firefighters and other rescue workers rushed in. Then the Twin Towers collapsed. That's the site tonight. And now New York's bravest are searching for hundreds of their own, as well as the thousands who are believed to have been in the building when those Twin Towers came down. Tonight, Dateline's Dawn Fratangelo has some of their stories.
The date, September 11th, 9/11, will forever be etched in our minds. It's eerie to think that hundreds of people were probably dialing that day, 911, after the first plane slammed into the World Trade Center. And when those 911 calls started pouring in, New York's firefighters and police couldn't stand around in shock like millions of other New Yorkers.
You guys going back? Yeah. It's our job.
They had a job to do, a job that would cost many of New York's finest and bravest their lives.
Every company across the city has lost somebody. It's hard. It's hard.
As the towers were burning, hundreds of firefighters and police were sent into the buildings. The firefighters were from some of the city's most elite rescue units, teams of 6 who were specially trained in building collapses. While thousands of panicked office workers were running down the stairs, hundreds of firefighters were running up.
I guess it was about the 27th floor. The firemen started coming up into the building. And I just felt that they were very brave, and you know, we were kind of clapping for them and wishing them luck on their way in.
But they were not so lucky. As the rescuers tried to save more people, the towers collapsed. First one, and about 40 minutes later, the other crashed to the ground.
Are you thinking of the firemen because you fear that they were perhaps trapped in the building when it collapsed?
I think they probably were. I think there were a lot of them that did get trapped in there, and I think that's very sad. They were all nice, young, healthy, good-looking guys.
And it wasn't just the rescuers on the inside. As the cloud of debris rained down, it destroyed a command center where 2 of the fire department's top commanders were stationed.
I don't know what to say. We lost people that have given over 40 years.
Our job was never meant to be like this. This is something that nobody would ever figure could happen or would happen.
By late last night, as firefighters continued to battle fires and search the rubble, the numbers were staggering.
We've got over 300 people that are missing that we can't account for. We believe that many of them are gone.
In one fell swoop, entire on-duty companies from fire stations throughout New York were engulfed in the rubble of the collapsed buildings. All just doing their jobs. Now all just gone. The numbers keep adding up. 7 from a rescue squad, 8 from a ladder company, and from here, a captain and a beloved chaplain.
For 10 years, Michael Judge, Franciscan father and fire buff, ministered to the men and women of the fire department. Yesterday, he answered the call quickly and died in his line of duty, giving divine comfort.
He had a way about him that just soothed all your feelings and emotions and let you go back to the firehouse thinking that this is okay and everything will be okay. He was a great man.
Support poured in from the neighborhood for the hundreds who simply answered the call. Their fire truck, windows blown out and covered with dust and debris from the blast, now a shrine. The Beatitude reads, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted." But without Father Michael, who will comfort them now?
In a time like this, Father Mike would be the one we would all turn to, and they took him from us. It's very, very hard right now.
And in Lower Manhattan, Rescue Squad 18 and Ladder Company 20 together lost 15 members.
This is astronomical. I think right now we're probably all in a state of denial, which is probably how we're getting through it. I don't think this is all going to set it. Right now we're too busy working. Later we'll think about it.
Their colleagues left behind feel they need to do something, anything. So first thing this morning, they boarded a bus heading for Ground Zero to find the fallen.
What do you hope to find?
Just hope to do what we can do, anything they want us to do.
Just gonna go down there and see if we can find them.
Missing are elite firefighters like Manny Mojica, who started out years ago with firefighter Brian McKeever.
Manny and I sat next to each other in Provy School. I always remember his smile. He's a good man. A lot of good men.
It's their second nature. In an emergency, police respond, firefighters rescue, and even after an unimaginable toll, they're still at it.
It hurts so much inside right now, and our main goal is just to try to get every person, every brother, every civilian out of that building right now and let them rest in peace. It's very, very hard, but we'll get through it. We have to.
In the best of times, New York City firemen and policemen have very difficult and challenging jobs, but who ever thought that they would become ground troops in a war started by terrorists? We're going to bring you up to date now on tonight's developments. The FBI is reporting some bold new leads in the hunt for those hijackers, the terrorists. A trail of evidence is being gathered from the Canadian border to Florida and around the world. The White House has confirmed what NBC News first reported earlier in the day, that it believes that the White House itself and Air Force One were the initial targets of the hijackers. The few stories that remain of the South Tower of Manhattan's World Trade Center have now collapsed. Thousands still are reported to be missing in the rubble. Workers of all ages, all kinds of backgrounds, all kinds of financial situations as well. And America's leaders made it crystal clear in Washington today, they are planning, at this hour, retaliation. President George Bush today calling this an act of war. And joining us now is NBC's David Bloom with the latest on the rescue effort. David?
Well, Tom, if those firefighters and police officers are the ground troops, this is clearly ground zero.
What is going on?
Lower Manhattan, where right now, of course, this rescue operation is continuing, Tom. Essentially, what's happening right now is that they are continuing to remove debris from the general vicinity of the World Trade Center, continuing to search for victims inside the rubble. Within the last hour or so, we've seen dozens and dozens of these trucks come through, where a few hours ago, the rescue workers were forced to evacuate because of concerns about one or more buildings possibly collapsing. Those concerns have diminished enough at this hour. The rescue operation continues. In fact, we just talked to a couple construction workers who are helping inside, saying that despite those fears about the possibility of the buildings collapsing, their efforts have continued throughout. They're still hopeful, Tom, they can find small